Holy moly. Oh my gosh, dude. I hope you guys caught that little intro piece there. If you didn't, rewind and go watch that.
Yeah.
Uh Absolutely sick stuff happening here at MCG. Again, we're trying to up the quality here. So expect the viewing experience to start ticking up over the next days and weeks. But GICM, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. We got an interesting stream today. I'm not gonna lie. We have Dev Fund Pump coming on in about 10 minutes. We'll get started with them. I mean, huge interview. We see ICM obviously huge, but then when you look at all the players entering the ICM niche, you notice that Pump Fun is also kind of putting their throwing their hat in and stepping into the arena. So Dev Fund Pump is, I mean, we'll see how much a part of that they are. They're definitely offering an ICM sort of solution on Pump Fun, and that's really the
Can you
point of today's.
pull their X?
Yeah,
Yeah, here I'll do
I'll
you want me
pull
to
it up
link
right
you
now.
their X or you got it?
Yeah, I got it. So
So I gotta ask something real quick. Obviously been around Pump for a while. Is this like a new primitive for Pump, or is this just kind of the same launchpad mechanics? Just this is more of a narrative thing.
So that's the thing that I want to try to get into a little bit more. Like I don't really know like what the underlying mechanics are. Is it going to be bonding curve or is it going to be something different? Um but all I do know is, this is and that's really the point of this interview. There isn't much information out there. So I want to get it directly from the guys at Dev Fund Pump. So that's why I'm really interested in today's interview. And I shared their Twitter if you want to share my screen whenever you're ready. And we can
I actually
actually
have
go
a hot take on the Pump Fun ICM narrative too.
talk to him. Talk to him.
Yeah, dude. So it's like we're in this interesting position where we talk about it all the time, where there's like 5, 6, a handful of really good launch pads iterating on new mechanisms, equity anchor tokens, Futarchy, ownership coins. Like there's so many different primitives we're seeing experimentation happening. What's interesting for Pump Fun is I think they're in a unique position where it's like they dominate mindshare. They started this whole launchpad narrative to begin with, right? And so they're in a really unique position where they have this $1 billion war chest and they can kind of just sit back and let everyone else figure out all the technicals. And whenever they're ready, they can step in and kind of just take what they want from it and implement it into their own system. I think right now, Pump Fund can actually, and if you share my screen, I talked about this yesterday too. So I have that tweet pulled up. Um, and I think what's interesting is they don't actually need some sort of super technical new primitive for ICM to succeed on Pump.Fun because they have such a big brand recognition right now and name recognition. And so I think what kind of happens with Pump Fun here is everyone else scrambles to do the equity anchor or the Futarchy or whatever it is. And once someone once the trenches really decide what they want best, Pump Fun can kind of just go in, grab that exact tech and bring it on their platform. Right. They wouldn't be the first person to do this. You look at a lot of these major companies, all the big convenience stores, Walmart, Costco, the list goes on of businesses, but what most of these business are is just taking a pre-existing model that works and implementing it themselves. And Pump Fund's in a perfect position to do that because no one actually has the answer on what's going to be successful. And Pump Fund's got the biggest name brand recognition and a massive war chest. So all they have to do in the meantime is highlight their successful projects, highlight their ICM projects, talk about how popular ICM is, how they want to champion it, put some money towards it, and they're golden. And then when something actually comes around and sticks and equity becomes a standard or Futarchy becomes a standard, decision markets become a standard, they can literally just take that exact model and replicate it. They don't want to be behind the ball on it, of course, but at the end of the day, it's not on Pump Fun right now to go ahead and innovate in that field. They just don't need to. They don't need to take that risk. So I think they're in a pretty interesting position there. So I just wanted to kind of give that thought. What do you guys think?
Wow. What a take. Can you zoom in on that tweet, by the way?
I can, yeah.
Awesome. That's actually a really, really good take. I didn't even think about that, but I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they already have everything that they need to have, as far as as far as, brand recognition, like you mentioned, and they have resources. They don't really need to be the first ones in. They just need to be able to capitalize on the opportunity. And I think ICM it's big enough to where they know it can't be ignored. So they know it's an opportunity they should pounce on. And I think it behooves them to kind of like leverage some of these builders, that are happening, or some of these builders that are building for Pump Fund. So it would make sense for them to partner with someone like a Dev Fund Pump. Like it would just make natural sense, right? Like if they're pushing in this ICM direction and someone's already building a solution. And if you share my screen, I'm actually gonna share a few things about Dev Fund Pump. So if you look if you look here, they're already partnering with OX Merc as their first mentor, or OX Mert with the T. I say Merc because but either way, Mercdom. But GICM Andrew, GM Cold Town. Appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. But yeah, they already have some sort of motion, right? They're attracting bigger players already. On top of that, you also see, there's something else on here, that I wanted to mention. So here's kind of a little bit about the mechanics and how it works. So IPOs let projects raise SOL leveraging Pump Fund's bonding curve. Backers contribute SOL in a fundraising window, which is used to buy up the bonding curve, and everyone gets the same price. That's actually kind of neat. Setup: the project owner sets a minimum raise amount by choosing how much of the bonding curve supply to sell, 50 to 78%. Additionally, the project owner receives 1% supply for free on a 3-month vest. And then as far as and then they can buy more at the final IPO price. IPOs run for 6 hours with no hard cap. If the minimum raise is met, it succeeds. Otherwise, all backers are refunded. Oversubscribed funds are filled pro rata. And then after the successful launch, the coin is launched. Dev Fund buys the bonding curve using the raised amount. Backers claim their tokens. Project owners claim their raised funds and owner supply. And then the project owners remain entitled to their creator fees. So I kind of like, and then the last thing is the IPO feature will only be available to curated projects and teams, which will be announced soon, right? Only curated. So I think that's really interesting. And then they also mentioned this massive project incubator lineup. And I think it's worth noting that do you guys remember Heaven Decks kind of did something like this? You remember
with what, like white gloving projects?
Not white gloving, but just in terms of like buying up the bonding curve. I think Heaven Decks was doing something similar. So to your point, Dom, they're literally just kind of like looking at ICM, letting everyone innovate, and then maybe just kind of like cherry picking like things that they like, and just kind of drawing inspiration from builders that are already out there. I mean, maybe it's not even the exact same, but it's definitely, I think I remember Heaven Decks doing something similar.
Can you
And
scroll
I
up
really
to the pro rata share part? I'm interested in reading that over. And that's, I think, a question I want for the Dev Fund team too. We see the pro rata share distribution happening right now. MetaDAO is the most recent example. A lot of those raises are getting distributed at a pro rata share once they get oversubscribed. I don't know. I'm not sure if pro rata is the best way to do it, because then you just have these whale games that we're seeing with MetaDAO. And like, again, just play, like, it makes sense, play the game. But at the end of the day, you have these people with massive liquidity. They know they're only going to get filled on 10% of their position. So they just go and bid 10x more to fill 100%, right? Or fill what would be equivalent to 100%. So there's obviously risk in that. There's obviously a lot more risk in that. But I don't know if I'm a fan or completely aligned with the pro rata share distribution thing, just because, like, it is kind of easy to game if you have a lot of liquidity and really like the project.
So I guess like what would be the alternative? I guess
Yeah,
that's the
that's
question.
the question. I don't know. It's not really for me to answer, I don't think. But at the end of the day, you're right. There has to be an alternative. I don't think it's a bad way to go about things, and I don't think we've even seen any like examples of it going terribly wrong yet. Like we haven't had some whale go and scoop up 20% of supply and then just market nuke. But I don't know. I just think it's something to watch out for. It's a great question, Chill. Do you have any ideas of what would be like a better way to do it? I don't.
I don't. I mean, and I think that's a part of yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there is a better like way to do it, at least not one that I know of. And I think at a certain point there is going to be a way to game the system no matter what. Like we saw when Ford when Ford on ETH
Fjord,
Fjord, yeah.
Foundry,
Um
Fjord Foundry or whatever.
yeah, like we saw them and like, people kind of game the system there. Um we saw even with the bonding curve, that was innovation. And then we saw a little, some gaming of the system going on there. So I mean, I feel like there's always going to be ways to kind of work your way around things. But we have the dev fun pump team here live with us. Dev Lord, Roby, welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys joining up. How you guys doing?
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Dude, Dev Fun Pump. That's kind of a mouthful of a name there. Who chose that one?
Well, that's like kind of the Twitter handle. We call it internally just dev, but dev.fun as well. It just works. Yeah.
Cool. Robbie, you with us? Robbie, how do you pronounce it? No feedback there. It's all good.
I think we might have some mic issues.
It's all good. How you doing today, Dev Lord, though? Good day?
Yeah, it's a very exciting couple of weeks. Recently, we've announced like the IPO feature, and we've been getting absolutely blasted since then. Good problems to have, like a lot of traction and a lot of people kind of watching what we're doing. It's very exciting times.
I guess just like high level take real quick. How obviously you guys are excited for ICM on pump.fun. Do you think pump.fun is going to be the winner when it comes to ICM? How confident are you in that? How excited are you in that? And what makes you think that per se?
Well, I mean, I think there's going to be multiple winners, but I think Pump is going to be the leader, um, just because they're like kind of the best team in the game. I think they're like clearly the best to ever do it. They just keep having like consumer successes, and I just don't see a reason why they would stop doing so. Like the whole team is pretty stellar, and they have the means and the mean to execute. So yeah, I'm just like quite bullish. They have like the best distribution in the game, the best liquidity, the best launchpad.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. It's hard to bet against pump, that's for sure.
yeah, exactly. I think like that's why we always wanted to like kind of um, instead of recreating a whole launchpad, we kind of just wanted to try to work with something that already exists, right? And has like the best distribution in the game, basically.
And I guess that's what we want to get into today. We want to kind of just figure out like, how does this work? What is this product? Like what are you guys building? What's the moat behind what you're building as well? But either way, I guess before we get into the meat of it all, let's kind of start out with just you guys. Start out with your journey, what brought you to building this, what made you even interested in ICM in the first place. So if you don't mind, just kind of walk us through exactly what brought you to this point.
Yeah, I mean, like to give you like the quick story, we started like building Dev.fun in September last year. Um, we've always been like close to kind of the trenches and like what was happening there. Um, and we always kind of started this with the vision in mind that we didn't have like the word ICM to qualify it, but this is kind of what we were thinking about. Basically, it started as like this AI app builder, right? And our rationale and thesis was like, how do we let people just build apps on Solana really fast and distribute them? So we built this like kind of end-to-end AI pipeline where you can just prompt like a few words and like kind of an app comes out and you can already distribute it. And you can do capital formation and tokenization in just a few clicks, basically, right?
Can you
And
guys
that's
hear me?
kind of how it started. Yeah, you're with us now.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah. And hey guys, nice to meet all of you.
How's it going? Is it Robbie or I think Chill said something
Yeah,
earlier?
Robbie works.
Cool. Great to have you with us. Devlord, as you were saying.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we got started. We grew like kind of a core community around this product. And we learned like a ton about, what people want to build, what people want to use as apps. We just learned a lot about the behavior, like the people basically creating ICM. And some of the kind of pain points we noticed and the reason that kind of leads us to create the IPO feature, was that we see like there's a lot of demand to launch on Python, but there was not like an easy way for those like kind of companies, startups to go about it because you have a bonding curve that starts like pretty low. You can get like kind of sniped, and like the type of investors who want to invest in startups, I think they have like a slightly generally higher net worth on average, and also a slightly lower time preference, where they don't want to flip coins every 60 seconds. They want to like take some time to research what they're investing into. So this kind of explained like some of the design decisions we made, where basically we decided to create like a pre-sale model that lasts for 6 hours. So it's not too slow, but you still have time to like look, a little bit into the team. Maybe you can talk to them on their Telegram, or you can look at their website, like try their products. You don't have to like, super fast FOMO into the coin. You can take a little bit more time.
Do you think ICM tokens will function differently than meme tokens? Right? We see like meme tokens, we see people just kind of spitting out, and for sure.
Yeah, I think just on average hold times will just be a lot bigger because people just have more trust in the projects behind it, right? With meme coins, you're betting on like short-term attention. You're betting on the fact that people can go ahead and get a lot of people in really quickly. But for a lot of these holders, they obviously don't have a lot of trust into these teams because they're not docs. There's no real plan or vision. And for these ICM projects, if they come in and they launch a token, usually the team is somewhat doxed. And they have somewhat of a roadmap and they have some real tech behind it. So I would certainly say that people would have more trust in these projects, which leads them to increase their hold times a lot longer.
Is that why you guys kind of chose this white glove incubation approach rather than just a democratized launchpad?
So there's going to be two kind of ways. There's going to be two ways where the incubator is like one part of it, where for like the projects who really stand out, maybe they also like need a little bit more help about like going to market, like how to launch, have like questions, they need some support. We are happy to like kind of help provide that. This is just to ensure like a little bit more, longevity, make sure everything is like kind of done as right as possible. I mean, you can never kind of fully perfectly nail it, but we try to like make it as good as possible. And then you will be able to still use this permissionlessly. So without going through the incubator, you will still be able to do an IPO for your project if you just want to do that. So yeah, it's like still, I mean, the idea like still everyone should be, able to launch and in a way that works for them, right?
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned. No, go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, we'll have like a mixture of like curated launches for the incubator and then just like an open permissionless model with the IPO that everybody can just take advantage of. And yeah, we'll probably like make it like permissionless, not too far after we actually go ahead and we drop this feature.
And so I guess a question that I had was, um, how long have you guys been live with this platform? I mean, you mentioned that you were building up an early community. You got a sense of what everyone kind of wants out of ICM, out of this platform. So just walk us through how long you guys have been building this for, and then kind of how that's shaped what the platform is now.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we started building it in September 2024. I kind of built an MVP in a couple of weeks. And that was just like, a prompting front end where like some piece of code comes out on the other hand, and you click, it makes a token. We immediately thought like this is going to be a banger. Everyone's going to be building like apps on Pump because they're like tired of memes. Like they want like some, more like kind of real products, real things. So we decided to productionize it. We brought a whole team together, went live with it in kind of beta in January this year, and we opened it in February. So yeah, it's been a little bit less than a year that we're live.
Wow, so you guys have been building for like quite a long time. So I mean, have there been any like what's come out of the platform so far? Like what's been kind of um the the highlight or the proof of concept for you guys to kind of signal that hey, we're onto something here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
there was
there's like
just go ahead.
there's like a bunch of apps that actually came out of it. I mean, now kind of 8 months later, we have like around 28,000 apps that have come out of DevFund, which is pretty exciting. And I know we had any sort of apps from like social files, like games, to some sort of like trading tools. We really had a bunch of different ones that went and built something on dev.fun. So yeah, I think that was super exciting to see that there were so many people that are looking to actually go ahead and like build something and launch a token for it and raise via that route instead of going through that like typical VC type of fundraising. So yeah, I think also just from like the community that we've kind of built so far, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and we've also kind of learned a lot on into what direction we kind of want to take this. So yeah, I think just from the general community that we've gotten and from like a bunch of different projects that we've seen now, we've kind of gotten the feeling that this is really something that we should be doing.
Got it. And I see that on your platform. And there's so many things that we want to run through with you guys here today, and this is one of them. I see that there's like the Biddle. I don't know if to call it an incubator or a platform, or is there any like any association there? Because it seems like you guys are building a massive network at this point. And I also kind of want to get into your association with Pump Fund. And we see they're leaning more into the ICM niche as well. So, I mean, kind of tell me a little bit about your association with Biddle, or if that even is if there even is
Sure.
ties there.
Bidal is
Sure.
Bidal
So
is like the kind of the first like community coin that someone created. I think it's a group of it's a group of people who like kind of got together and created the first community coin. We have like a lot more of those as well. This is just part of like how we designed the platform. You could already launch tokens before the IPO features, but they were just like kind of like regular pump fund launches. Like Bidal was kind of standing out, and they've helped us in like organizing events and things like this. So we've definitely like collaborated with them. Like it's like a kind of a completely separate team and like a community led initiative, right?
Got it. And so they've had a deep hand in kind of, would you say, um helping you guys kind of iterate on the platform, or maybe even just organize just outside of that from a community perspective?
Yeah, I think they've done
yeah,
a
I mean
good job, like kind of rallying community, and organizing some
they've also
events.
kind
Like
of
they were doing like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they've also incubated some of their own projects that they launched on DevFund. Like Zala is another token that they launched that as like one of the tokens that is still active kind of on the platform, and tokens like that are things that came out of Biddle. So they have their own kind of like incubator going on.
Got it. That's awesome. So they have their own incubator. You guys have kind of curated launches. So it's not really that there are ties there. The only tie is just that they launched on Dev Fund Pump. Okay. Got it.
Will you guys be going through
And they
their
basically
incubator?
just like promote the community. They help us out on that side.
So will you guys be going
Us
through their
personally?
incubator when you incubate, or when you guys have these curated launches at all, or not a plan?
No, we have like,
W-
we
w-
launched kind of like our own incubator program, right? Which you can see on our Twitter account. So that's through this, we're going to incubate projects that are going to launch the next IPOs that are like kind of the curated launches. So this is where like we're bringing all the mentors and all those things, right? Yeah, so this is like kind of this incubator is an internal like dev.fund initiative, right? So we have like our own team members for this. We hired specifically for this. We're still hiring, just throwing that out there. Yeah.
Okay,
Got it.
got you. What about plans to attract new deployers? Are you guys going to have any unique mechanisms or mechanics to your launches? For example, we've seen equity anchor, we've seen ownership coins. Have you guys thought about anything in that vertical, or are you guys just gonna have launches kind of guide the founders to implement some sort of flywheel or growth mechanism? And how do you guys attract new deployers on top of that? It's a loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we don't like tokenize equity or do things like this. In that sense, a token is a token, and I think a token can represent like whatever you want it to represent. I think it's really just on the founders to kind of make the decisions here, like what do they want the token to represent for their company. Of course, we want those to be, more sustainable than like a 60-second like meme coin, obviously. So we try to, curate people who are like kind of long-term aligned, who want to do something, good for the company. But then if they choose to, tokenize some equity or like do some revenue buybacks, there's not like a one single formula that works. I think it's really on them to decide. I mean, even like regular companies, like not everyone is doing dividends, not everyone is doing the same things, right? It's just about like what does make sense for you. So yeah, like I think we're happy to just like kind of advise them basically.
That makes sense. What does it look like for you guys when you're going to attract these net new deployers and get these founders to launch via your platform? How do you guys go about doing that?
Yeah, I think at the moment most of it is a lot of it is inbound. I mean, since we teasered the actual IPO feature, I think we've had around like 500 projects reach out to us looking to be like launched on via the IPO feature. But besides that, I mean, we have a good network in this space. Know a lot of like exciting builders. And yeah, even if we just like see something on Twitter that we think is pretty exciting, I typically just reach out to these projects and see what they're kind of up with. So yeah, it's just mainly I think a lot of inbound, but also just something that we kind of curate over our network and whatever.
Yeah, we've recently also kind of launched the Scout program, where basically we're just trying to scale like outreach. And anyone can kind of come and refer a project to us, and they get like kind of upside in what happens to that. So anyone who wants to kind of participate in this, there's a form. You can fill it, and you can hit us up on Telegram or whatever, make some introductions. If projects launch successfully, you kind of get like some upside here. So we already have like a group with maybe 70 people, I think, who are like kind of, on the lookout for projects for us. So feel free to just also join that. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys have you have a clearly a good product already. What are your revenues looking like right now? Are you making money, or how do you make money from these launches? How does that what does that look like?
Yeah, so currently, like the product before the IPO is not like super highly revenue generating. It's basically breaking even on the AI costs, with some margins. So it's technically profitable, but it's not, it hasn't been like covering the company burn. Um, Now with the IPO launches, there's going to be like a standard kind of fee on the funds raised. This, will definitely, turn the company profitable. So this is what we're like kind of looking forward to. It's very industry standard. Um, we're not doing anything crazy new here. Just yeah.
Got it. And with you guys, kind of obviously Pump is moving in an ICM direction, right? Have you gotten, has a team reached out? Has, Alon show any interest in your platform? I mean, it's already it's we saw the quote tweet there. I mean, it's already gaining a lot of traction. You guys already have a solid community. Has there been any outreach by the Pump team?
I mean, we kind of like know them. We're not like, I mean, yeah, we know the team. Um, I mean, I'm a seed investor in Pump basically, but like there's no kind of like uh official work relationship right now.
Got it, got it. And Robbie, did you want to chime in there? I saw you unmuted.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the same thing. We're familiar with the Pump team. I think what we're building, also like probably aligns with like the direction they're looking to go towards. So I think it's also something they're taking more notice of. But yeah, as Devlord mentioned, there's no like official working relationship or something. But I think we're both probably pretty aligned of like where we kind of want to take the trenches, I guess.
Yeah,
Got it.
I,
I
I
mean,
have a couple
that's
questions. Sorry, Chill, are you done your
last thing I'll say is just
go for it?
that's huge that you're seed investor in
Yeah,
in
no
Pump.
kidding.
That's actually kind of crazy. But yeah, go ahead, Josh. My
Do
bad.
do you have a maybe Devlord? Do you have a quick like story of like when you made that investment and or like just that journey real quick that you can share?
I mean, I enjoy investing in projects, even like some of the companies that we're about to IPO. Sometimes I enjoy investing in them personally. That's something I do, something I've always done in crypto. Um, yeah, that's it. I mean, like if a founder is like, bullish and a good founder, when it's very early stage, there's no like, usually it's a bit kind of fucked up. Like everything is a bit fucked up. Like not everything makes sense. Like the product maybe not completely makes sense, or but so you're just looking at basically who you're investing in, right? And like obviously the founders were like super standing out. Yeah, that's the story basically.
Totally. And I actually want to double click into that. So you're writing seed checks into interesting projects, then launching them on as IPOs or initial pump offerings on Dev Fund. How do you think about the equity that you're investing in its relation to the token that's being launched? Can teams kind of like buy up their own supply or allocate that supply to the equity holders? Like, how do you think of um, both those elements?
I don't expect anything. I expect like some of those I'm not even gonna get like tokens probably. And I think that's fine. Um, it's really up to the founders. I think when like, early stage startups, like we can guarantee that the team is dedicated. We couldn't guarantee that, they seem like they're gonna do something good. But we can't guarantee their success, right? So that's like always part of the risk, in kind of early stage investing. So I think you just have to be okay with it. Uh,
So
and usually at these early stages, like not everything is completely figured out, like what's gonna happen. Um, it's just like too early to kind of know everything about what's going to happen to your equity, what's going to happen to your tokens. Like your company is just launching a product now. Like you should be focused on like getting users and getting revenue. If you win this, then usually everything will work out. I don't think like, flywheels, like all of those things is not the most important thing. Like, and I think that's something like, for example, the pump team is like a good example of this, that just so aggressively focused on like reaching PMF and getting more users and that's almost the only thing that matters, right? And like, how do they kind of like have revenue, right?
I agree
When
with
you
that.
get,
I agree with that take. There was instances through Believe where companies launched and then were aggressively trying to buy it up and own any of it, and they realized, oh, maybe that not have any of the token itself. So kind of
Think your mic is bugging out a little bit there, Josh. You mind
Oh,
repeating
sorry.
that?
Yeah, sorry. It was actually rubbing against my beard. My bad. No, really quick. Like some of the Believe launches, which were complete fair launches, the teams didn't set any tokens aside for themselves, and it was fully distributed. And then they found out, hey, we got to buy some of this back because we don't own any. And then they were buying the token. So that's just was interested to hear your take on if you see projects that are coming through that are allocating some percentage to themselves in kind
yeah,
of
I
this
think,
process.
I think they should generally, own upside in their own token. So we reserve, first of all, if you're doing an IPO launch, you get 1% automatically allocated to you. Just this is free, like you don't even pay for it. And then you have the option to kind of reserve up to like 15% additional. But this is deducted from the amount you raise. So you don't actually get it completely for free, but it's like kind of, you have to choose between, getting like a percentage of your token allocated to you or only getting Solana. And you have to like kind of make the call here, as to what's most important. The reason we choose to do this is because we don't want to give, it's just a balance between like the investors and the founders. It cannot be completely one-sided where the founders get the best deal and the investors get like kind of
Totally.
fees, or the other way around. So they have to like kind of buy it basically, but we give them the option to ensure that if they want it, they will get it. They don't have to like go on the market, do some crazy stuff or whatever.
Got it.
And I guess another question that I had, you mentioned that just backtracking to the way you invested in Pump as a seed investor, what are some traits that you look for in a founder? And I'm assuming this is kind of how you guys would look at potential founders in your pipeline as well. What traits do you look for?
High energy, like seems pretty determined, just high energy, I think is usually is very, very interesting signal. It's a bit hard to describe. It's a vibe thing. Like, I don't have like exactly a framework that I can kind of write.
No, actually, I completely understand what you mean when you say it's a vibe thing, because even on these streams, we've seen many times where we get founders on and immediately, and you literally said it when you said high energy, you can immediately tell what founder is more so locked in or passionate or whatever adjective you want to put in there. You can kind of see who has it and who doesn't based on how they talk about the product, how they communicate what their business is. So definitely get what you mean there when you say a vibe shift. Now, I wanted to ask that question because obviously you guys have to create a pipeline, right? You have to feed this. You have to feed your platform, and that comes by recruiting and scouting new interesting projects. So how is that going? Do you guys have a pipeline set up, or are you guys still kind of recruiting? How does that look like right now?
Yeah, when it comes to projects, for the actual incubator program or for project scouts?
For the incubator.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I mean, we're always happy to talk to projects. We've had pretty full calendars over the last couple of days, just to see who kind of makes sense. And yeah, I think we'll continue to do that. So while we'll probably just mostly focus on the inbound at the moment, we're still kind of talking to more and more teams. So yeah, I wouldn't say we've kind of stopped with that yet.
I mean, how many? Just to, I don't know how much you can say while you're on stream, and maybe Josh or Dom, who you can pull up their latest tweet. I saw that you tweeted that you had like a huge pipeline of projects. So I don't know if you can speak to how many projects that is, or
Yeah, I think just from the projects that have kind of like applied to the incubator, I think it's around 500. I'll have to probably go out and check. But yeah, when it comes to the ones that we're gonna basically incubate, we'll only be incubating a couple a month, and then also when it comes to the actual IPO launch, we'll probably launch a couple of them a day, like give each of them a slot every day, and yeah, go about it in that way. But yeah, we won't be launching all of the 500 at the same time or whatever. But we'll probably going to be having a couple a day up until we actually make the platform basically permissionless and let everybody kind of just IPO.
very
I have
cool.
a quick community question. Will there be a dev fund coin in the near future?
I can speak about how near in the future
Yeah.
there will be. Yeah, there
Please.
will be a token.
Are we near in the future, like in the next week, end of the year?
I mean, I would actually, if I give you like a timeline, I would be lying because we don't have one.
Okay.
We are currently like putting some thoughts into it.
Got it. Okay. I had a couple of questions just around the broader ICM space. We're contributors to ICM Run and kind of built our show off the rise of Believe and the narrative around ICM launching there. But yeah, what do you think really founders should choose dev fund over something like Believe or the other kind of more tokenized equity launch pads or the MetaDAO approach out there?
I mean, again, I think like a lot of approaches make sense. I think like, again, as I said, I think it should depend on like what you're kind of trying to achieve. I think there's going to be multiple winners, out of like kind of this ICM meta, right?
Totally.
There's not just going to be one kind of, platform dominating the whole thing, because there's just so many companies. There's room for everyone and everyone has like kind of very specific needs. That's what I can like kind of notice about after talking about to all these projects. When we try to design the IPO, we wanted to like maybe try to do a one size fit all model. We're trying to like boil it down to like the most kind of primitive, things that you need. And it's just like, it's not really possible, right? So you can just have one offering that's gonna, capture 100% of the market.
Yeah, Dom,
Um,
can you click into Paste Terminal there? I just want to see what it looks like to see at the project level. Yeah. Okay, cool. And shout out Paste Terminal. They this is one of your contacts, right, Chill?
Yeah, they're really nice. They're a really cool platform. They have a lot of they got a lot of information that they like to distill, and I haven't really looked into them that much, but
Okay.
yeah, they're a cool project. They've been around for a while and they've been building some cool stuff for a while. So yeah, definitely shout out to them.
Yeah, and on that
Yeah,
screen
they
you
were
had
actually one of the earliest ones to come onto DevFund. Yeah.
nice. And on that screen, I think I saw that you had I see the Moby ads. That's funny. You had I think users and likes. Or is that likes or what's on the right there? It's kind of yeah.
Yeah, that's likes. That's likes.
Can you walk us
So
through what those metrics are?
yeah, I mean, users is literally just how many people have interacted with the app, and likes is just likes that can be given by anybody on the platform to any of these apps to basically just give them a better position on the feature page. Yeah, that's
Got
basically
it.
a
So they would
quick
maybe ask
explanation.
their community and like try and get people to like it to kind of rank it up. And then users, or when you say the app, it's the people clicking on the link out to use Paste Terminal, or or that have
No,
been
they have
holders?
to. No, they have to they have to use the app. So it's not just as simple as clicking on the link. But you have to be like an app user.
Got it. So there's some sort of like image pixel or something that Paste Terminal can put on their app, and then it triggers back. Or how do you read that data?
It's all, our solution is like end to end. So basically we host and serve everything, and every app has like kind of their dedicated like hosting space. So it's basically, like a lot of those are like, I would say 90% of those are like dev.fund hosted. A little bit like if you're like Vercel, if you're familiar with like other kind of solutions.
Oh, interesting.
Um, So yeah, we kind of deploy everything automatically to people. They also have now the option to self-host and then distribute on dev.fund. Since I think last week we kind of added that. But yeah, that's why we are able to kind of do analytics here.
Whoa. Okay. So you are not just a launchpad. People are coming and deploying products actually on here, and then they're launching the token.
That's been the model for the past 8 months, and now we're
Wow.
enabling like a little bit of a broader thing. But yeah, the backend is like pretty tech heavy because you have to host all those things and you have to like generate them. We have
Yeah.
we offer like backend solutions. So basically, the AI is able to interact with databases. With like other AI features, with like you can have like live chats that you build inside, and everything is like kind of backend features that we provide, right? So it's actually like a pretty big piece of software.
Yeah, and maybe last on this, like, just what do you think that provides an advantage, or is that a certain type of builder that would use that? Like, why that piece of technology? Because that feels a little more involved than just, hey, we're a launch pad.
But this is what we started with, and that's kind of like our whole idea was like, how do we make it as easy as possible for anyone to deploy an app on
Yeah,
Solana,
test an
right?
idea. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of like the ideas you can test things very easily. Like those things can accept like on-chain payments. You can collect like you can connect like a phantom wallet. You can do everything basically, right? You can you have payments and like we have like backend stuff that verifies the payments are like well done. So it's like it's a pretty complete solution, right? And so you can just like if you don't even know how to dev, you can just basically come here and like create like an MVP for your app, or you can like make like a almost like a fully functional app. Basically, we have like people only by prompting deployed like entire like social sci apps that actually work end to end.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
amazing.
yeah. Mhm.
Cool, that's amazing. Have you guys talked to ICM Run by any chance? Are you familiar with ICM Run at all?
Yeah, we are. I think Mercy is a really cool guy. We had like a couple phone conversations that were pretty good.
Awesome. Any collabs
We're
potentially there?
Yeah, we're
You
also
think?
a contributor in their DAO.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
Nice.
so
Yeah,
so
we've
are we.
already
Okay, we didn't
collabed.
know that.
We're a contributor in their DAO.
Amazing.
Yeah, we announced that like 2 weeks ago or something. Yeah, I mean, ICM is super dope. Mercy is a really cool guy. And yeah, kind of completely agree with his kind of vision on this entire ICM space.
So that's really cool that you guys actually had some communication with him. Yeah, he's definitely a Chad. Shout out to Mercy, he's a legend. A question that I had was, how are you going to, like, how does the community get exposure to all of like the value that you guys are generating? I mean, we just kind of uncovered you're a little bit more than just like a typical launch pad. Obviously, you guys have an amazing product because it's being used already. Are you guys going to do like an airdrop to like users of the platform, builders on the platform, or is there like, some way to get exposure to maybe like the projects that you guys are going to be incubating? Like how is the community going to get exposure to any of this?
Yeah, I think the best way for anybody that's bullish on DevFund to kind of get exposure onto DevFund is just to be a part of these kind of IPOs, these launches, these projects that are going to go ahead and launch. I think I'm pretty bullish on them, and I think if anybody else is bullish on our platform, I think those are probably the things that they could do to kind of get some exposure.
Awesome. And how soon, again, I don't know how much you guys can say, how soon would you say some of these launches are around the corner?
Pretty soon. That's all I kind of want to say
Got
to
it.
this, but yeah, you won't have
Got
to
it.
you won't have to wait too long. Yeah.
Got it. We have to ask these questions. So if you if you at all can't let us
No,
know, just
I'd be asking the same questions, but I'd be asking exactly the same questions. But yeah, pretty soon you guys can look forward to something.
Nice.
awesome.
Maybe
Awesome.
one last one for me is just with the Dev Fund build or Dev Fund build project. Do you ever see like an ICM run and Dev Fund build collab? Like, is that possible that there could be multiple incubators incubating something interesting?
For
And
sure.
I think
We've seen it from the amount of products that have gotten like and reached out to us. I mean, there's so many products in the space that are really exciting and only a limited amount of incubators. So I wouldn't necessarily see them as any way competing, but probably just working together. So yeah, I can definitely see that happening. So yeah.
You know, one thing we just kind of glossed over is the team that you guys are working with here at Dev.Fun. What's the size of the team? Who's on the team? Are you guys is anyone doxed? Are you guys planning on doxing? Just give me the whole kit and caboodle there.
Yeah.
Looks like we lost Devlord too, by the
pretty
way.
small. Oh, yeah, the team's still pretty small. So yeah, not too big. It's just me, Devlord, and a couple other people. We are still keeping it fairly small.
Yeah, you know, we see Pump Fun kind of making their attempt here at ICM, or at least it seems like they're about to kind of step into the ring here. In your opinion, what's the best way they can capitalize on this? The best way that they can set themselves apart, and just like they dominated meme coins, how can they dominate ICM coins?
I think just leading up to joining, I heard you basically say this. I mean, I think anything Pump Fun puts their mind to, they can achieve at this point just because they have the size. So I think if they go into this direction, they'll 100% win in this direction. Yeah, it's they're very in tune with the trenches. They have the liquidity, they have the distribution, they have the brand. So I'm very, very bullish on whatever Pump Fun decides to do, to be honest.
maybe as an extension of that question, do you have a take on how they could maybe use their treasury or recently raised funds to fuel this? Do you see them making equity investments and saying, hey, we'll tokenize those equity investments on our own platform? I don't know. Any thoughts there?
Like for me, I don't think it's necessarily about the the liquidity you deploy into all of these projects, but more about like the supporting infrastructure you provide them. And I think that's something that a lot of the projects that we've talked over the last couple of weeks have really appreciated. And was probably the most convincing argument beyond just the IPO features, just because we provide them with the support they kind of need. We help them kind of go to market. We help them with their marketing materials, all this sort of stuff. So we're pretty hands-on. So I think those kind of supporting structures are probably more important than just like dumping a bunch of money into a bunch of these projects. So yeah, I think laying the kind of foundation and giving projects the best tools to go ahead and be successful is probably the best way to go about this.
Can you give some examples on what it is these projects really need hands-on attention with? We obviously at this show have seen a lot of ICM projects launch, and typically they're Web 2, and these founders just don't know how to do the crypto game. Do you have any specific examples of what they really have, like what their biggest pain point is typically?
Yeah, I think for a lot of these projects, it's just like a little bit of a black box. Like they don't really know how to make these launches super successful, or they don't really know basically how to properly communicate, or basically, yeah, just run a token, right? I think that is something fairly new for a lot of these kind of builders. I mean, obviously trenchers kind of know how to do that, but yeah, it probably takes more of like this like trench kind of mindset to know what it takes to run a token. But yeah, for most of them, I think it's literally comes down to like learning more about like the communication between the actual kind of bag holders, I would say, and the project itself.
Probably should have started off with this take, but what's your definition of ICM?
My definition of ICM, that's a good question. I don't know if I have like a wildly different definition than anybody else, but essentially, I think what ICM allows people to do is trade the attention that naturally flows towards a project. I think that is what it is for me. I mean, people have taken into different routes, like tokenizing equity and that sort of stuff, and tokenizing some sort of like DAO control. I think those approaches make sense. I think it just kind of depends on like the project and what their preferences are. But from a trader's perspective, I mean, that's essentially what it is, right? Regardless of what the kind of tokens kind of real purposes, I think most traders come and ape these tokens just simply because they think there's going to be more attention flowing towards it. And that's basically like this element that meme coins have taken and transitioned into this ICM space, which is why these kind of launch pads like Pump Fund are looking into it. Just because, yeah, it's kind of the same concept, betting on attention. And that's something that I think is super exciting.
And who are you guys seeing really interested in launching with you? I look at Believe, and I've noticed most of the Believe projects are Web 2 guys coming into Web 3. And then I look at MetaDAO, and I've noticed all of their incubations are Web 3 native projects. And we're seeing MetaDAO, I think, be more successful right now. And those projects understand how to operate in the trenches and operate with their holders much better than a lot of the Believe projects do. From your perspective, someone who's incubating a lot of these people, are you seeing more Web 2 founders or Web 3 natives?
It's probably 95% Web3 native. And I think that's important. I think that is something that you should definitely be looking out for, just because, as you mentioned, like these people just know how to communicate with their holders a lot better. And they also see the importance of a token. They see it not only as some sort of like extractive tool, but they can really see it as like basically the best go-to-market strategy in existence, and also as basically the best kind of marketing tool that literally exists, just because you give your early supporters like financial upside to go ahead and chill you, basically, just like word of mouth or advertising. It's like the most potent form of advertisement there is. So yeah, I think long term we will see more and more Web 2 projects, but I think that barrier is just still too big. And so yeah, we're also focusing on Web 3 projects.
Are you seeing a lot of interest from more so companies that are pre-revenue, pre-user, or are you seeing a lot of interest from companies that have revenue currently? They have a user base, they have a working product, maybe a product that's been out for months on end now. I don't know, maybe some clarity there.
Yeah, I think all of those projects are kind of reaching out to us. I think what we kind of want to do is actually go ahead and mainly support projects that actually have a working product already. So yeah, I think we're seeing people that have revenue, that we see people that have no revenue yet. But yeah, I think what we kind of want to focus on are like more established kind of projects, right? That have been in the space for a while and people kind of know and have seen around.
Sweet. I just went rapid fire on you, Robbie, so I appreciate you answering some of those questions. I'm pretty much good. I think you really covered a lot. I know Chill's got one last question, Josh, if you're going to pull him up. And then we'll let you go here because we're pushing an hour.
Yeah, Robbie, appreciate you guys coming through, and we'll respect your time. Sure. I guess one of the last things that last questions I wanted to ask, you mentioned that these launches are coming up. You guys are building a lot. You guys are seeing a lot of cool projects. Is the best way to keep track of all of this just going straight to the platform and seeing what IPOs are on, or will there be announcements? Where's the best place to keep up with you guys?
Yeah. I mean, we'll certainly communicate that pretty transparently and clearly. And you'll be seeing it on the platform, but along with every update we push, we always kind of announce it on Twitter, right? So yeah, I would just say probably as the best advice, just keep your notifications on Twitter on. And yeah, that's basically where we handle most of our communication. And anything that happens on the platform will instantly be announced on the actual Twitter page.
Well, consider my notifications on, my friend. I appreciate you guys coming through. Appreciate you guys sharing. You guys, this is an awesome product, and I can't wait to see what you guys deliver. And of
Cool.
course, if you guys, as you guys are building and launching, and I know you guys have tokens. You're thinking about launching a token as well. Any other updates you guys have? You want to come back and share that with your community on stream? Feel free to just hit us up or let us know, and we'll be
For
happy to
sure.
have you back, man. You can share the alpha
And
with,
future
your community.
projects.
Dope. Yeah, it was great to be on here. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Good, Robbie, you're the man.
And
Tell
yeah,
Dev Lord we say
it
goodbye.
was great chatting to you guys.
Awesome.
All righty, take care. Appreciate your time.
Cool chat. Really
Yeah,
interesting
cool.
product.
Seed investor in Pump is crazy. I think he understands the dynamics at play. I think they would have a good eye for some solid projects in the pipeline. Yeah, and I mean this all just goes back to, I put out a tweet, was it yesterday? This all goes back to that tweet. I mean, again, we see like tons of players coming in this space, and it literally means one thing for all of us who trade. And you can share my screen here, Josh, whenever you get a moment, and I'll zoom in for you guys. But I mentioned yesterday, are you seeing the ICM opportunity? There's a ton of builders, ton of launch pads, accelerators, incubators. Regulation is being reshaped, and it's all bullish for ICM. But there's not many launches at the same time. There's not many launches. And so with all of that in mind, we know the founders are coming. We know the projects are coming. We know the players are building. So what does that mean for us? It means launches. It means opportunities. It means gains. It means trades to be had. And I think the Dev Fund Pump team put it the best way. Like, hey, if you want to get exposure to what we're doing, ape the project. You know what I mean? Like, buy the IPO. So I think that's something that is worth keeping a note of. On that note, have you guys seen the market structure bill, the news around that?
No,
I've been seeing it briefly. I know you're excited about it.
Dude, guys, let me pull up the
I see the breaking ICM tweet when we were going live. So,
well,
Senator Cynthia Lummis. Oh yeah, here we go.
So we had breaking ICM news. Senator Cynthia Lummis says it's a big day in Washington for digital asset market structure. So my question is, exactly this: is the market structure bill coming? And if so, will it provide more regulatory clarity for on-chain startups? It likely will, right? And so this market structure bill, I don't think nobody is paying attention to this. I don't think nobody has eyes on this. I haven't seen anybody talking about it on the timeline. And I'll likely share some ideas on the timeline here this afternoon after stream. But this market structure bill, we should all be paying attention to. This affects ICM in the craziest way. It affects how projects launch. It affects how startups can be tokenized. It affects how perhaps we can view equity and tokens and all of this stuff. And I think based on this market structure bill, based on what it offers, it will change a lot of the setups in ICM. So it can really make or break everything that anyone is building right now. Like, they could come out and they can say, you cannot tokenize equity. You have to just launch a token. And then that could put a hole through everything that anyone is building, right? Like, we don't know what's going to come out. I'm going to do some digging this afternoon. So look out for like a thread or something like that for me, a write up on some of this stuff. But yeah, it's definitely worth paying attention to, guys.
I'm gonna let you guys take Orgo. But let me give a quick market take before I do that, because I think right now Believe is looking like an interesting token to bid. We know what happens, right? Before these big announcements, it's going to get front ran. I think there's 1 week left till this flywheel is supposed to go live. Am I remembering that correctly? Was it 2 or 4 weeks for migration?
It was 2 weeks. So yeah, we got about a week left. I think at
So
the
we,
beginning of November.
yeah, so we got about a week left. I don't know. We kind of found this bottom. We were ranging here. We got the initial news. We got the initial sell-offs, and we've kind of just been ranging. And each dip's been a little less than the previous one. I wouldn't be surprised if we start front running this news because we had Stig on a call, and Stig dropped a lot of alpha. I think today actually. Here's some more alpha. While I get off this stream and work, while they're interviewing Spencer from Orgo, I'm going to be quote tweeting a lot of these tweets that Stig dropped. But he dropped a lot of alpha. And we know what happens when that flywheel comes. In 2 weeks, the flywheel's kicking in. That's going to be paired with an app that maybe people will use, maybe probably not. It'll be paired with launches. It'll be paired with, this fund that they may be starting. There's a few different things Stig talked about that are really exciting for Believe. I think simply put, here at a 90 million fully diluted value, this is including the inflation of 33% or 25% with the new value, however you guys want to frame it, is probably a pretty decent bid. Again, we see MetaDAO is getting a lot of traction. We're seeing ICM completely take over. It's like a wide open door for whoever's really willing to execute on ICM well. I don't know if this flywheel is going to be great. I don't know if it's going to be 70% revenue back, 80% revenue back. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of great token launches. No one really knows, right? But ultimately, we know it's coming, and so it's going to get front ran. And I think probably, obviously, easy to say bidding yesterday was easy, but just bidding at all in this range is probably a pretty good trade, at least for the short term. And we might get a sell the news, but if we don't get a pump into the news, you typically don't. So if you guys study the markets, that's what you'll see. If you get a pump going into a news event, obviously it's most likely going to be a sell the news. If you don't get a pump going into a news event, it's typically a good bid. Those are two ways to look at it. So I don't know, just an idea there. And then I'll leave you guys with this. Orgo's looking really good. Clearly getting front ran here from this stream we have with them today. They're pretty quiet on socials. So anytime Spencer comes out and talks is like a big event for Orgo. And so I think we're seeing that manifest on the chart. Like everything's red today, but Orgo's up 24%. And I have a feeling people are front running the conversation you guys are about to have with Spencer. So hopefully he's got some cool stuff to drop.
And I'll add one more thing to your take as well. If you'll share my screen, there's a tweet that came out from Taylor Fox from Believe. I thought that was really, really interesting. He said, ultimately, all that matters is the quality of the launches. When you examine more closely, it's really a game of betting on founders, creators, artists, entrepreneurs, people. And he basically said, like, he's going to be leveraging his network. And he said, as an alum of Z Fellows class, I consider myself lucky to have an expansive network full of these ambitious types. I've had several connections with second and even third time entrepreneurs and founders from this network who are curious about starting another venture and how they can start something new. And basically, he's going to be leveraging this network that he has to build out a pipeline for Believe. And look at that. Wouldn't you know, the founder from Cluely, Roy Lee, he's from Z Fellows. The founder of Nucleus Genomics is also from Z Fellows, right? Like I mean, just saying, there's a lot here from a network perspective. And I think that is the advantage that Believe has, is their connections. Like we know that that Pasternak is from Web2, has built a name for himself there. We know that Taylor Fox here of Believe has connections as well. So I think that's just more bullish for the launches. And I think the Dev Fund Pump guys said it the same way. They're like, it's all about the launches. If the quality of launches are bullish, then that would get traders involved, and that's how you raise capital. That's how you get this motion. And they have also hinted that, or not hinted, they confirmed, I should say, they've confirmed that that there will be a ton of launches on at the start of the flywheel, like to go along with the announcement. So you have Dev Fund Pump launches coming. You have Believe launches coming. You have also Soar launches coming. You have, I don't know how close Street is, but I'm sure that there will be some launches at some point. You have the market structure bill also about to be passed, or it's projected to pass in November as well. So November is about to be this crazy month, and on top of that, you also have the Bitcoin chart looking like it wants to go crazy in November. Perhaps we consolidate a little bit more at these lows, but everything is lining up for November. So I say all of that to say, like, there hasn't been a lot of launches yet, but it's going to behoove you to pay attention to what's happening in like the next, 2 weeks, I would say. Not only just Believe, but pay attention to ICM.run, pay attention to Pump, Dev Fund Pump, pay attention to Pump Fund, pay attention to everyone, because literally there's so many opportunities.
All right. Well,
around
Chill's
the
lagging
corner.
out. Nonetheless, I will say, I'm not sure. Am I lagging, Josh, or Chill?
Chill was fine wrapping up his
Oh.
bit there, but you're good. You're good. It might be on your end.
Definitely my end. Then continue, Chill.
Nah, Chill was cooking for a hot minute, but did you
Yeah.
want to share your screen, Dom, and finish off with, is that ICM run?
Oh, I just had it pulled up. No, I was just casually pulling this up.
Okay.
No, but on Chill's note, it is nice and refreshing to see Taylor Fox, someone from the Believe internal team, saying all that matters is launches, because
Yep.
it is something we see now with Believe. That's kind of like, all right, guys, stop focusing on the stupid app, stop focusing on focus on good launches. That's all people care about. You don't even need the best technology for like equity anchor and stuff. Just launch good projects. And so it's nice to see Taylor is aligned with that. But I have nothing else, guys. I'm actually just gonna head out soon and let you guys take it over. But yeah, ICM.
Cool.
I mean, look, if we get a dip on ICM.run, it's pretty stupid obvious this is going to be something massive. If we get a dip down into like these levels, I'm obviously a buyer. I would say even like below into here. So yeah, that's ICM.run.
Sounds good, Joe. Sounds good. Well, do we have Spencer here?
Not yet, but I
Not
do
yet?
need to just take a quick minute break and then I'll be back.
Okay. So
So-
I'll cook for a sec. Just
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah.
and share my screen before you
Wow,
go.
look at that PMX chart. Jeez, that is coming back to an
14
area.
mil. Yeah, it's starting to get real interesting. Look, if we even breach down here and we kind of get back into this range here in the middle of the previous accumulation zone, I would say sub 9 mil, you're looking real golden for PMX. Their metrics are down, attention's down because they're working on some internal updates. I just said internal like 5 times in the last 3 sentences, but they're working on a bunch of updates, and I think ultimately they will probably lead the prediction market saga. So yeah, I'm a bidder in this range. I'm a bidder in these lower ranges. I actually bid on this dip as well. So I'm in from a little higher as well recently. So, but yeah, PMX probably a decent bid. Remember, this is Met Cabal. They will get caballed.
Yeah, of course. All right, cool. Dom, thanks. We'll throw throw's a little aggressive, but we'll pull Spencer back up and enjoy the rest of your day, Dom.
We're gonna yank Spencer up. All right, guys.
GG's, Dom.
See you guys.
See you, buddy.
Let's-
All right, gonna pull Spencer up here. Yeah, yo, welcome back, Spencer.
Spencer, how are you, buddy?
Hello again.
Hello again. Yeah, man, what's going on in your world? I mean, you were in New York recently recording with Believe. Like, what's going up? What's going on?
Yeah, we have some cool stuff for that. I think that will be I think that will be pretty exciting. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of I came up to New York for this last week. So that was this last week, but other than that, it's been like a ton of product work and just kind of like grinding that out. Like I mentioned, we're kind of releasing a V2 soon. Been kind of, yes, I went to New York, then focusing on a product. Actually tomorrow, we're going to record a video. There's a video guy, record a new launch video.
I like
but
it.
It's honestly the past month. I mean, it's been talking to users, building the product, and then just this last week came up to New York as well.
Yeah, ORGO's like been one of my favorite projects. I think after our conversation, I just realized the magnitude of what's being created, and I don't know. Tell me if I'm like in La La Land, or like when you say you're creating a launch video, are you like, is this a big coordinated launch with Believe in terms of like, hey, this is the next big thing in AI? Like what are we talking about? Is this just a product upgrade that we're really proud of, but or is this like a big thing?
Yeah, it's so the with Believe, that's going to be it's two different things. So I'm actually doing my own launch video and then doing some stuff with Believe as well. Yeah, so for the launch, I mean, so this kind of next version that we've been kind of spending a ton of time working on, it's yeah, I would say it's a bit more than just kind of like some new features and stuff. It's kind of, I guess, the next major product iteration, and has some major new features that we're kind of been working on for the past little bit over a month. So that's So yeah, definitely going to be a big difference from the last version. Yeah, and in terms of like, I mean, probably not going to be a super hypey launch video. I would say more, most something on Twitter. I don't know if you've ever seen the like Anthropic, I guess. I don't want to say launch videos, but like when Anthropic releases new stuff, like kind of slightly chill, like but more just to show kind of like what direction we're heading, and like what's the kind of like new version, like what it's gonna have.
Yeah, they have like the animated one. I think I know what you're talking about, and just in terms of like sitting down on their couch or whatever in their office,
exactly,
and
exactly.
yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Like, maybe talk to us like what that timing is around this rollout. Like, are we talking about in the next weeks, or is this kind of something for the end of the year? Like, how you think about timing around V2?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're getting together, recording a video tomorrow. Yeah, this is very soon. I want to say, I mean, it's gonna be ready by the probably end of next week. We might wait till kind of like Monday to kind of to figure out the exact, maybe the third or fourth. One of those, we have to figure out the exact date to publish it.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Like it's very very soon. It'll be kind of ready, and we actually spend a lot of time on the designs. The designs are done, and implementation. A lot of the development work is getting close to be done. Yeah, we're like 80-90% there, and it's gonna be ready by kind of next week.
Amazing. And I also want to screen share, because last time I dove into the product halfway through our stream and I was like blown away. So maybe just talk to the users, like give us all right, I launch on Believe, like we'll do a little recap and then we'll talk about V2. So launch on Believe, or Ben DM me saying, hey, launch on Believe, built V1, which was, computers for agents. Maybe talk a bit about that, and then let's get into what V2 is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, when I launched on Believe, it was actually like very much, I guess, an MVP. It's I mean the product. Yeah, when I first launched the product, I mean, I guess it worked to kind of basic functional degree. Like you launch these computers, and I mean, I guess the kind of I mean, the purpose of the product is so that these computer using agents are starting to pop up, and so you can get like GPT to control a computer, and so the first version was just a computer that you could to a simple degree like spin up, and then it would be compatible with these agents. So I mean, that was the kind of very first version, and we're starting with like just getting something developers can play around with, and like some of the first things in this new version is more around like getting teams to work on it, and like heading more in the direction of like we just started this kind of simple thing to play around with, and like actually I think it's forming into a proper product as well. Like teams can kind of collaborate and build these agents together, and kind of it's kind of more clear in that direction as well. It's kind of generally where we're headed.
Got it. So when you say allowing teams, so the first version of the product, it's like you kind of go into this window, you say in the chat, you prompted like, oh, I want to launch this agent. I'm going to use Claude or whatever model, and then the agent starts like doing things, right? Like it starts executing things. What you're saying is we're going to allow, and this is where maybe like companies come into play, is actual developer teams at these corporations to kind of hack away on a agent that's like their colleague, or dare I say replacement. Like, I don't know, how do you think of collaboration in this context?
Yeah. I mean, so there's a few things. So yeah, our first version is you would boot this Linux computer, and it would be very simple. It's very bare bones. It had like minimal RAM, CPU, and like just really basic software. So that's kind of the first version. It's like very lightweight computer. But the kind of direction we're heading is like, okay, first of all, have more resources per each computer, and like more support more software on the computer. So like you said, companies can run what they need, and they have the agents have access to the software they need, as well. Like the team aspect. I mean, this is something that's I guess directly just like embedded into our product. Being able to like have multiple people, like right now you sign up for ORGO, you have a project yourself. Having more people on a project, and sort of more like a Figma style, like a collaboration style, so you can actually have multiple people working on a project on ORGO. One of the first things I kind of figured out was like people would be working like 2 to 3 people on these like agents. And it was a very unnatural kind of way that they were doing it, and it would kind of have some awkwardness to it. So yeah, I mean, just sort of like in a product sense, like giving, making it intuitive and like intuitive to work together on a project, and for people building computer use agents.
Yeah, this is like my kind of trying to stretch my imagination from, ORGO's like, of course, this really amazing concept, but in reality, like, what are people actually building or using these agents for? So I like, do you have like case studies or like actual like demo videos of not yourself, but people who have built with ORGO and have created something really fascinating, or done something really fascinating?
So I think that's one of the things. I think releasing more videos, and like I think we should.
You almost have to see it to believe it, kind of thing.
So okay, I will say like a lot of the or I guess what is available or like built today, the V2 is kind of like addressing, I guess, some of the like where's the V1 lacking at, because like right now it's like a lot of the agents that people have built is, I mean, so it kind of falls into a few things, but one of them is maybe like a simple pipeline of like having one agent research online and another agent like insert data into a spreadsheet or like custom software. So a lot of it's like simple like web research and data entry.
So having like multiple agents potentially working together on the computer at the same time.
It's actually kind of an interesting thing of like, I kind of realize a lot of the initial interest in what people started to build towards, I guess, is like the multi-agent sort of stuff. It's kind of, I guess like having multiple work together. And then, a lot in some of the, other use case, I think a lot of the other early use cases is like, like sort of like experiments. I actually like, in the past month, like a lot of the use case what people are using it for has actually been relatively constant of like experiments in terms of like having 5 to 10 user personas of these agents, like testing a website or SDK. So for example, you could, if you build an SDK, you could maybe tell an agent, like you're a junior software engineer, like try to use this SDK and get started with it and see how well it does it, if that makes sense. So that's one example. So there's some of the early ones. Like I think one of the things we kind of realized quickly, and like, this is kind of like to help inform the V2, is a lot of companies want to build computer using agents with like custom or niche software. So like that is not readily available like on the computers on ORGO right now. And also like software that needs like a high-end kind of like high-end graphics or high-end computer. Like just a random example would be like AutoCAD. So kind of like building towards that as well.
Got it. In the AutoCAD example, do you have like there? So the agents are like building on AutoCAD like a design for, I guess, like a 3D printed thing or the ladle machine or whatever, and then it can be sent in an email to whoever's the human that's actually gonna do it on the machine, or maybe there's a robot that's doing the machine, so it has to like translate that AutoCAD design to robot instruction. Like I'm just trying to wrap my head around like the actual like business applications of this, where we get to the point where, okay, now we have like end to end, these agents are creating useful things on these computers using software that humans use in a way that humans use it. And then that translates into something that's created that could be sold. And now that kind of like completes the loop and people are like, oh yeah,
and like right now it's a lot of small, like I guess automation, boring, repetitive tasks, like filling out a form, like doing like clicking through a few screens, something like that. I mean, in the long term, I mean, what I'm kind of the direction that I'm heading. I mean, in terms of like business is like, I think the most interesting ones business wise are kind of like, I guess the boring legacy industries, I guess you would say, like insurance, healthcare, manufacturing. Like, I mean, one of that I'm particularly have been interested in is like filling out insurance claims, like as a kind of like a claims agent, being able to like click around the desktop software for one of these computer agents, and then fill out customer insurance claim information.
Yeah. And feel free to take this conversation any direction that you want, by the way. I'm just trying to like think through kind of the use cases and maybe who's using it. You mentioned in one of your tweets that the underlying models are getting really good, the rate of improvement. I know in our last chat, we spent a good amount of time really digging into kind of like how this AI thesis plays out over the next few years. How it maybe in the last few months has your thinking updated, or do you have new information on just how good the agents itself on ORGO are getting? And you have a kind of a smile there. I don't know if that's like a we're doomed kind of smile or what.
No, maybe I think maybe that's just my normal devious smile.
Cool. Yeah.
It's funny because it's actually been a super interesting month for computer use, I think, since we last talked. The models, I guess one thing I didn't expect is the models have started to get better faster than I expected it to happen. So if you so there's two major model releases in just like the past month. One of them was from Anthropic, and the other one is Gemini, Google. So for the computer use models, I think I mentioned this before, but they're kind of indexed on this OS World benchmark, and that kind of scores how good they are at completing, how good these like LLMs are at like completing computer tasks. And I mean so humans kind of been baseline at 72%, and I think and that kind of means like able to complete 72% of the computer tasks. And 1 month ago, the best model, so I think last time we talked, the best model scored like 43%. And now it's up to like 62. There's been like a major jump in the past few weeks. And that was with the Claude, I think it's Claude 4.5 Sonnet, had like a huge performance jump for computer use.
And now, like, think about what the labs have internally that they don't even have.
Right.
So, this is like, I get back to AI 2027. The AI 2027 Josh keeps coming out every time I talk to you, but it's if you've not researched or gone and seen that, go Google that and figure out read that paper. Have you read that paper? Last time you said you hadn't yet.
Oh, I haven't been bad. I still haven't read. I'll read it.
My goodness.
I've glanced over it in the past, but I haven't sat down and read it.
Go read it, because the kind of rate of improvement that we're discussing here, it can get a little scary. Anyways, I digress. You can go read that and let me know what you think about it. Okay, cool. So the models are getting better. Basically, what V2 is the ability to allow multiple people to collab on an agent, and also to have multiple agents working together at the same, let's call it, workstation. Are there any other features in V2 you think are pretty interesting?
Yeah, let me think through, because there's a lot of different new stuff.
Yeah, do you want to show your screen by any chance? Like, is there a demo that you have or a video that you could show us?
Yeah, I can show you. Let's see. I can show you one quick thing. I can show
please.
you one of the quick screens to give you an idea of. Let me see.
Yeah, if you present, I can remove and pull you on stage, or pull your screen on stage.
Yeah. Let me see. Share screen. Okay. Entire screen. Okay. Got it. Okay. I can show you, yeah, one of the screens, and then the full kind of thing later, like will be released kind of next week. But I can show you, like, so this is the old kind of, just to give you an idea, like where we're headed in terms of like direction and functionality. This is kind of the old UI. You can sort of spin up these computers, and then like connect it to a computer using agent. I'm gonna show you one of the new screens. This is probably very vague. It's probably isn't super helpful for like one of the it's probably not super helpful, not seeing the full picture. But I mean, there's a lot of new things. So I mean, first of all, like we're introducing the concept of like working together and like inviting other people on your team, as well as we added new. So we're increasing being able to do more memory limits. We're going to be able to like have GPUs, which is a big thing.
Sorry, what's the significance of memory and then GPUs?
Oh yeah. So on the actual computer itself, you can imagine like your own MacBook. You have like, I don't know, or whatever computer, like 16, 32 gigabytes of memory. So it depends on what software the computer is going to run. So what software your agent needs to use would matter what kind of memory you would need. And like we're also going to add this is something that's kind of taken some time, but it's ready now. Add Windows support as well. So right now it's Linux.
Amazing.
Windows is ready to go. Invite people on your team. More options for resources. I'm trying to think what else. There's a bunch of new stuff that I can't think of. I guess we have a new kind of like playground mode as well.
So if I were to ask, so the GPU significance is people can like bring their own compute. Is that what that enables?
No, there's actually a GPU for the computer itself.
Okay.
So you can imagine like the basic example I have is just like if you play video games, you need a GPU to like render graphics.
Yeah, of course.
So it's more like what the software you're running is.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things you can do with a GPU, like you could, render videos, like play games, any high-end, like run Photoshop. There's like a lot of things you can do with a GPU that you can't without.
Can you go back to the product there, just because it gives me the infinity screen, and people might want to.
Oh, does it? Okay, yeah.
Much more.
Yeah, this is also very in progress. I mean, I was doing code on this like 30 minutes ago.
No. Hey, man, no worries. We're just trying to unpack what this is. Yeah. Okay. So obviously, like I think Microsoft and Google have come up with a bunch of agent tech. They're doing agent to agent stuff. I mean, theoretically, I would assume they're going to allow agents on, Windows PCs at some point. Like, how do you think of Orgo and what you're doing as it relates to the big tech firms having agents on their computers? Do you think like Orgo's just ahead of them? Do you think Orgo does something different? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, with Orgo, I mean, I guess what the product is you kind of write one line of code and it kind of spins up this like instant computer that the agent can like actually connect to and use. So the agent can kind of click around and have this instantly readily available computer. So, I mean, we built this infrastructure to, you can spin up a lot of computers and have it instantly available to go. But it's, we're also not just building the computers, but like building it to where you can custom preload any software, building kind of like the developer suite analytics, like you mentioned, like inviting teams, like this kind of like developer platform that kind of makes it.
Got it. So less like consumer focus, more developer focus. And if I were to think about this correctly, like if let's say Windows does allow agents on their computers and doing something similar to this, it would just be like on one computer. What you're saying is, you have like 4 instances across the bottom, which could be individual computers. And maybe from a company standpoint or a developer standpoint, let's say like I'm running my own business or something like that, and obviously I have to understand this tech really well, but like, are those 4 different employees, and like would those employees work together, or like how do I think about what activities and tasks those 4 separate computers might be doing?
Yeah. I mean, this is also like an interesting part of like how we're kind of framing it, like built for developers. Is like we kind of give this like toolkit in like these computers, and it's like kind of a developer primitive, and it's kind of up to the developer like how they do it. But I mean, the kind of thing that I'm seeing most is like having 3 to 4 specialized agents like working together, and maybe they can kind of delegate tasks, so like each one does a narrow task, and then potentially like talk to kind of communicate with each other as well.
Right. So within their instance, there is some communication potential between them.
Yeah.
They're not like locked in a cage and like trying to break out to talk to each other. They actually can communicate. Okay.
Yeah, I think, and that was kind of the original. Like initially, it was a little bit caged in, but that's also kind of the direction we're heading, of like building a communication interface between between the computers.
Which feels like a pretty solid moat if you can get that right, because that might end up becoming the Orgo product in some ways. I feel like that is like a big piece of this puzzle that is still to be figured out.
Right.
Okay, really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in terms of the business itself as well, it's I mean, so it's like running multiple clouds, so like running a lot of instances, so like there's kind of this cost savings. And I mean, like all this infrastructure in terms of like building out kind of the rate limiting, like giving each computer what the resources and access it needs, like building out this like communication interface, like it's like all these things. It's a lot of infrastructure and like a lot to build out.
So I want to like move a little on from the product, but I don't want to miss anything. Is there anything here that's like, you think is pretty innovative? I mean, like when I see the style, I think this is all pretty amazing, but like the implications to it, I don't know if I really fully understand it, even though I'm like really, really passionate about it. If that makes sense. Is there anything on the product side that you think people need to know about that we didn't cover? You said there's a lot cooking, but I
mean, in the kind of general space is computer using agents and like giving computers to an agent. So I mean, I think the general things that I'm excited about is like new design, the kind of more resources like GPU, putting a GPU on the computers to kind of like give agents the same level of hardware as like humans, like as powerful as a normal human computer. And then I think like the templatization that we're building out for the computers, I think I'm very excited about, and I think that's the general direction we're heading as well. Being able to like preload the desktop workspace with any set of software. This is kind of how VM works. You can kind of preload a computer with like all the software applications you need to do your job as a human. So we're kind of doing the same thing for agents. And I think that's the general direction I'm excited about. Like kind of imagining, you know, an agent can kind of log in to the computer, already have its software, like, you know, Microsoft Teams or Slack, and then the custom software at your company, and it's kind of just ready to go. That's kind of the general direction.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the implications of that are crazy. So, okay. So preloaded software, the GPUs to play games and stuff like that. Okay. You have October 8th, new SDK here. Have we discussed this already? What's this SDK enabling?
Yeah, so this was actually one of the first things we started to like reframe the like UI and developer experience of like, we initially like just had you created a computer on the UI. So now it's like you kind of create this project, and then a project now is going to contain multiple resources. So it's going to be like multiple computers, there's multiple like humans, like multiple developer collaborators on a project. And we're also going to add more to like what is falling under a project. So, you know, for like an example, this one's a bit out a few weeks, but like we're going to add kind of almost like a Dropbox, like a file to where like an agent can like submit his work at the end, and then you could kind of download it, and it's contained within the project. So reframing, yeah.
That's wild. So, okay. So you have like humans will have a Google Drive. You prompt the agent to do something, and then the work just gets dropped into the Google Drive or Dropbox.
Yeah. So I think from a product sense, I think that's like one of the things that's kind of like missing is like there's ways around it, but like being able to get the work that was completed and kind of get it outside of the virtual computer. So you can kind of have a task that you want in mind, kind of delegate it to these agents, and then be able to kind of check in at this like Dropbox, like once you get the file and once you get the work is completed.
Okay, I feel like also in that line of thinking, some sort of like project management capability might be like milestone based or something like that, where you can kind of like pause the agent, review. But yeah, I mean, there's excuse me, sorry. There's some questions around Rambo here. I put it on screen. End-to-end support for agents. I don't know if you know what that means.
I assume he probably means machine to machine, like being able to talk between each other, is my take, but correct me if I'm wrong, Rambo. I think we briefly mentioned that before. I think this kind of goes around with like, we're going to build a data interface for each computer. So the agent has access to its own computer. We're going to include an interface where you can send data to the computer, and it also it can leave data from the computer. They can operate without having to take screenshots and speak with the computer directly. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is you can do this today, like with ORGO. We just kind of have this API for the computer where you can like click around or take screenshots. So like using this screenshot capability or visual capability is like an optional thing. But I think there's a lot, like, I mean, computer use agents as a general usefulness. Like, I think there's a lot where you might need access to the screen or kind of the visual component. But you can certainly like you don't have to use that. You can kind of use it in like a headless way. And a lot of the early agents that I saw kind of use a mix of both, like kind of do some actions where they don't need to see the computer, and then frequently kind of ping or look at the screen to kind of get visual context as well.
Okay, I think like that's a lot of product stuff. This is all the, like, again, the implications of this are massive.
Yeah,
Mr. Parabolic says, so Orgo is going to make us homeless. I mean, guys, did you see Spencer's smile when he joined, you know? Like, only if you hold Orgo, I guess.
No, maybe I would be more concerned about DeepMind making you homeless. I mean, they're making the models, like I'm making the desktop. But yeah, on that kind of, I kind of didn't mention before, but Google, the DeepMind, the Gemini 2.5 computer use. That was another thing I forgot to mention. Like this is their first computer use launch. They're kind of like released their very first version like a couple weeks back was when I was mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, are they wanting developers to take the underlying model and do things like you're doing? Is that the idea behind this?
Yeah, I mean, from like a market positioning standpoint, this works well because you'd get their model, use something like Orgo, and build their own applications.
Right.
You get the model, you get the desktop, and then you would kind of up to the kind of developer creativity for like what kind of specialized agents they want to build.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's talk some metrics. So V1, I think you mentioned you had 1,000 developers or people tested 1,000. Like, how has metrics evolved since our last conversation? And then kind of what do you think V2 might feel like? And you also mentioned you were talking to some companies about using this. How did those conversations go? And have you onboarded any?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit over a month ago, we had like 1,000. I mean, at this point, it hasn't been kind of super focused on growth, just like kind of building out the product. Yeah. I mean, I think organically, like more developers have signed up and used it. I mean, it's at like 1,400 now. So like there is kind of some organic growth, but we've been like super focused on product, and like I think we're gonna next 2 months do some kind of marketing and more distribution focused to being very product focused. But I mean, right now it's just kind of focused on just building out the developer base. Yeah, I mean, we're still. I mean, our goal at the end of the year is like 10,000 developers. So I think a few good pushes will probably get us there. So that's the kind of the goal we've been sticking to. And yeah, I mean, we have been talking to companies. It's more kind of like figuring out what they need rather than trying to directly like sell them now. But yeah, I mean, I continue to actually more lately. I talked with a few kind of enterprises. As of lately, I've been talking to a lot of computer use agent startups. So that's kind of the kind of focus that I've been doing lately. And this has been helpful for kind of more immediate product feedback and roadmap. And then, yeah, I mean, I do a ton of user calls, talk to a lot of people. I mean, I think I've talked to like 25 CTOs of kind of like large companies as well to kind of figure out what they need as well for like long term.
And do they have a reaction like I do, or are they kind of like, oh, cool, Orgo? Like, how do you find they react to it?
Yeah, well, for them, it's probably a more like pragmatic sense, and like I'm talking to people who are already building in computer use actually.
Yeah, so they're industry insiders, and they're kind of just like,
Yeah. So I mean, for them, it's like more evaluating like, okay, like what are I guess the pain points, and like kind of like more like trying to solve problems. So like for them, like these are like kind of the computer use experts. Like it's kind of so it's less kind of like wow factor for them because it's
okay.
So it's more like they have trouble running these desktops at scale, and it's very difficult. So like,
so that is their challenges. They're already trying to do it, but they're trying to figure out how you did it at scale. Like 10,000 of them. You said theoretically last time you could spin up.
Well, actually, even at a few like instances, it's actually like kind of hard to build this infrastructure, and like I think the common thing is like it takes kind of people minimum like 3 months to build it out.
How did you solve that problem?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a long saying, but I mean, I worked in computer use before, so I mean, I like had initially tried to build this infrastructure and spent like months doing it. So before like launching Orgo, I kind of like had some rough infrastructure, like things that I had previously built out, and then like spent a couple of months to like kind of make it nicely and productionized, and also been continuing to prove it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way I solved it is just kind of building it out ourselves and spending a lot of time perfecting that, building partnerships, like just removing that level of abstraction.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I think I saw a screenshot of you mentioning that you're raising proper funding.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on how that's gone, what those conversations are like, and like, is that like what kind of use of funds are you teaming up? Like, yeah, at what stage is ORGO now? I think when you launched and Believe, it was kind of like, I had this technology, let's test this idea, see if what's sticking, iterate on product. And now we're at the stage of like, okay, are we bringing it to funds to really kind of juice the growth? Like, how do you think of that?
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. I mean, we're right now. So we kind of closed the first round of funding. So that's complete. So actually, I think people were kind of asking about it. Yeah, I kind of recorded some content and when I was in New York with Believe. So actually that, along with from their side, I believe it's going to be released from their side, those kind of funding details. So that's going to be available soon. Kind of, we'll say kind of who our investors are and that sort of thing. In terms of like how we're using the actual funds, yeah, right now it's not scale mode yet. Like it's like we built out the V1, we're like building out this V2, gonna like push kind of like get to the kind of like 10,000 developer range and kind of look at the usage there. And I think that would be a certain inflection point in terms of like hiring. So right now, in terms of like, I guess using the funds just to like, build towards PMF, like iterate on the product with users. And then, yeah, I think for the at least immediate, like next few months, it's going to be like myself working, and then like with contractors, and like we're just, kind of funds are going into iterating, getting to the good product spot. And I think once we hit like a certain inflection point, we'll hire and like double down. But yeah, I think, yeah, right now it's, we don't want to hire too early. So we want to kind of like get it right. And then once we hit kind of an inflection point, then we'll scale out.
Yeah, cool. We loosely talked about the ORGO token last time, and whatever you feel comfortable sharing about it, you can here as well. Obviously, since then, like people talk about the flywheel. I know Believe is building out some like tax and legal stuff around the token itself to help their deployers kind of manage this ecosystem a little bit better. Just generally speaking, like how do you think about the token itself in terms of the ORGO journey? And I think last time you were alluding to how you think about the utility of it or potential utility of it. I don't know if you want to share any comments there.
Yeah. So I can say a few things around, token utility, token distribution, these sorts of things. Yeah, I know I probably annoyed people a little bit, been a bit quiet around this. Sort of, we haven't released a ton of details, a bit vague there. What I will say is, so there's a few parts. So one thing I think when people were wondering about, and I think along with, to coordinate exactly, but along with kind of the Believe, you mentioned like really releasing content and like who our investors are, kind of alongside that, kind of until today, if you look at the token itself, kind of 50% is locked and 50% is in the public. So with the first bit of like small news that we'll kind of like elaborate more on later is that the 50% lock supply, kind of previously, kind of until today, I kind of owned that, in that. So there's going to be a change in the token distribution that we will kind of make aware around the time we announce who our investors are. So that's kind of the first part of it.
And like you can like blink twice or something to this question, but will your new investors, the equity investors, will they get a portion of those tokens, you think? I mean, assuming that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think look, I don't think you're getting yourself into trouble. So saying that, I assume investors are going to want to own part of these network tokens, let's say. So I mean, that's all good to say. Have you thought about, so now I think the next part of that is token utility. Is there a role for the ORGO token in V2 and maybe in the future ORGO iterations?
So I'm sorry, what was the question? The iteration?
Yeah. So we finish up distribution. Obviously, 50% of it is like, okay,
Yeah.
that's public float. 50% is yours. There might be some, version of that 50% going to maybe new investors. Who knows? Now we go to token utility. I think you mentioned like the ORGO token may play a role in the ORGO product itself. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah. So this is, I mean, we could probably talk about this for a lot of time, but so the where we're kind of heading in the direction of that is, I mean, I guess a kind of analogy where I'm heading is like we're building like wholesale compute for agents. Is like what kind of ORGO is. Maybe like Costco is like a good example. Like I think we're gonna kind of build like a Costco membership card for ORGO, where kind of like you get this kind of like card that's for kind of like token holders, and there's going to be like several benefits of it. So you can kind of imagine like wholesale like kind of access to kind of like kind of valuable compute, like discounts. You can kind of imagine, like access to like several things on ORGO, which we kind of think to be valuable as well. And that's kind of the direction we're heading as well.
Yeah, makes sense. And like to just iterate out how fresh all this is, like they're literally talking about an announcement on this market structure bill, which will address a lot of these like tokenized equity and how tokens play. Like that's happening today. So it's still like, a lot of this stuff is getting figured out. But I think for people like since we've talked last, there's been a lot of discussion around, we had a platform called MetaDAO on, and they say, like forget about the whole equity conversation. The token is basically the owners of the IP, and we just govern it through things like voting mechanisms so that the token issuers can't scam people. They can't just issue a token, take the money and run. It's kind of locked in a treasury, and the revenues flow back into that. And so it kind of, they replicated the promises that the legal structure with equity gives investors, and they just kind of replicate it with on-chain tech. Then there's models like, I don't know, the Street Foundation, which says, no, that's where CLED is headed down that path, where it's like you'll have equity anchored tokens. So the tokens will have a foundation that then has equity a part of it. So anyways, long story short, there's just kind of like all these different models are being tested out, and we're trying to figure out what works. But I think for you, it's like, I think for the holders, what they just want to know is, they're the early believers. This is a belief coin, right? That's what believe stands for, is a belief coin. They believe in you, and they believe in this idea, and they're kind of the early ones that may have made this kind of even possible in the first place. So I think they just kind of want to know, like, and I mean, to your credit, you launched this on Believe rather than just doing this yourself and going and raising money in some backroom Wall Street thing. But I think that's just all important context. So we love you, Spencer, for that, by the way.
Yeah, hopefully some of that was helpful. And a lot of it is like, I guess, iteration, or like, to be honest, like figuring out what we can do, what we can't do.
Totally, of course.
Like we've kind of looked at like starting a foundation and start doing these things, and like also evaluating like, we're doing this, we're raising VC money, we're going to raise a Series A later on, like figuring out how we can, be in a fully legal, compliant. Like, there's a lot of things that we're kind of evaluating with this.
Yes.
It's been a learning process, right?
No, of course, and there's value that VCs bring that a bunch of token holders on crypto Twitter don't, in terms of their quality capital, they're long-term invested, they aren't going to harass you every minute on the timeline, and they also have relationships that add credibility. However, token holders do a lot of the on the ground, like they're your champions, right? And there's value in that, and obviously if you can work it into the economics of the product somehow down the road, that would be a win-win for everyone. Cool. I just want to make sure I've captured, and if there's any last questions, I know Rambo, you have a bunch of stuff, please drop it in the chat.
I guess one question that I had
Go for it.
was, I don't know how much of this you can say, but you're pitching to a VC. Like, how do they? I'm just, we know that conversations are happening, but how do? I guess the question I'm trying to ask is alignment, just around alignment. Why would they want to hold a token? We know, and this is questions that we ask pretty much every founder that comes on, just kind of their thoughts on tokenized equity, what's their approach, and what's how do they view that. But from a VC standpoint, like, where do they see that value and alignment? Why would they want like exposure to, why would they want an exposure to a token, would you say?
Yeah. So I mean, I think long term, something like one of the things I mentioned is like getting kind of access to kind of valuable compute, like as a kind of one dimension of the token. And I think that's one thing in terms of like just investing in ORGO in general. Like, it's kind of a core compute service. It's growing, like positioned to be kind of a major player potentially in like the kind of agent space. In terms of the token itself, kind of tokens that have access to kind of core or interesting compute. In some sense, I guess compute is kind of worth more than money in some contexts, right? Like, it's kind of a very valuable thing. So, kind of in just addition to that, the token itself is just kind of a core part of ORGO. We launched on Believe. I think maybe they have belief in the token, like, will grow. But yeah.
Got it. No, I wanted to get your perspective on that. And we know, there's only so deep we can go into some of these things. So I know you're kind of towing that line, but we appreciate you. Entertaining the question nonetheless.
I want to ask, you last time you said you put a paywall up and people bought it, and then you're like, oh, I didn't mean to charge anyone anything, so I refunded them their money. Have you thought about commercialization at all? Like, are you driving revenue? Are you thinking a paywall is useful, or are you still in the product phase?
I think we'll be in the product phase, at least for like coming months. What's the
the GIF of I don't know, anyways.
I think as it currently stands, like, as an example, I think Firebase was a free offering for a while, or it's gonna kind of offerings, a lot of developing offerings start out free. I think for us, we're just focused on growing out the offering, getting to like a kind of maybe critical mass, or kind of filtering, getting maximum mind share for people in this kind of niche market of building out computer use agents. I think at least for the coming months, we're gonna just stick to the free version, but probably likely by February to March, we'll kind of like start onboarding paid customers, probably in batches. But I think at least for the next few months, we'll stick to the free version.
Got it. I don't want to keep you forever, Spencer. I will chat your ear off forever if you let me. I don't know if there's anything specific you additionally wanted to cover, and same with you, Chill. If there's any questions you had, I always love jumping into the Orgo product and just starting a project, which I'll do just for fun, anyways. But yeah.
I guess the last thing is just what are you most excited about coming up? Just any forward-looking thoughts, anything that that you'd like to leave with the community, or just something to get the people excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a few things in terms of the product, like launched the V2, new design, like Windows support, templates, more resources, like team support, kind of a lot of new things with the V2. I mean, I'm kind of excited for, I think it's a really interesting moment in time for computer use that like it's starting to get a lot of attention. The models, even just like in the past month, have gotten much better. So the model accuracy is getting exceptionally better. Kind of, I think we're in a very good spot. We're starting to get more attention. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a very, kind of interesting time. I guess, in the kind of particular context of the people kind of in the token space that might be kind of interested, we have been working on it. Like, yeah, I guess we have a white paper kind of on that is currently being worked on. I guess that's one immediate thing that people kind of might be interested in. So that's kind of happening right now. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of moving parts right now in terms of like getting the new version out, getting like all the user feedback. Computer use is kind of, I think it's super interesting. It's super fun. I love the space. Like, I think it will have crazy kind of impacts. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited.
Sounds good. No, like I think you guys are building a great product. I remember, from the time I unfortunately wasn't here for your first interview because I was traveling at the time, but I remembered watching it, and just like Josh, I was just kind of like blown away by just the scale of this thing and the implications. Once it's fully built out. So it's just been a pleasure to watch you just build this whole thing out week by week, month by month, and it seems like the community is getting stronger. Like just as time goes on, and as they kind of see what you're building and the potential and the tech, it just seems like the community is just here to ride for you. So yeah, I mean that speaks to the type of founder that you are, and it speaks to the product that you're building. So excited for you and appreciate you coming on to the show again here today.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, kind of long ways to go, but we're kind of building out this infrastructure, kind of developer experience, and it's kind of cool because also as the models are kind of like throwing a bunch of interest into computer use, and like as their foundation models get better, like it improves our offering, and like it's kind of a really interesting time in the market of like where the kind of interest and it's kind of accelerating at. So yeah, it's super cool, and obviously I love everyone from MCG, and really appreciate you guys having me on as well.
We love you, Spencer. And Chill, look what's happening here. So this is what blew my mind last time. So like I started up this thing, it opened the spreadsheet, but the agent is also noticing things like release notes and tip of the day, which is, I guess, things within this Linux, office environment. I mean, when you get Windows in here, like I'm going to tell it to use PowerPoint. Like I'll be able to log in my PowerPoint subscription and it uses that. Is that the idea?
Like the whole Office suite, yeah. I think that'd be super.
Yeah. Okay. So could I just give me I just want to add some data here. Will it do that? Like, will it start?
Maybe there's a bug. Sometimes this is actually sometimes there's like it just doesn't accept follow-up questions, which is like I think a bug that I need to fix. But sometimes if you include it in the original prompt, yeah, it might just. Sometimes the kind of session just times out.
Okay. Well, it's a live demo, and
yeah.
I'd would it know? I guess it just kind of put some data in the spreadsheet. Maybe it doesn't know or something. But I mean, again, Chill. Look, I can come in here and interact with this too, and then the agent is also kind of interacting with it as well. And you can kind of see, Chill, where this goes. you know, in
That's
the
yeah.
future. Like, and it has full access to the internet too, which is
Yeah.
And chill, when I was doing it, it was like going to the web browser and like, you know, Googling stuff or whatever, and then coming back. Like, it's just, my
That's insane.
goodness. Yeah,
That's
this
insane.
is could take over the world, to be honest with you. And like, what was his name? Said we're all going to be homeless. Like, maybe, bro, maybe.
Well, if you think about it this way, Josh, I've been done like a ton of like digging on like where the world is headed and stuff like that, based on debt and based on just again just digging into Bitcoin and all of that stuff and the value prop that it offers the world. Basically, we need this productivity boom, like
Yeah.
whatever, like all of these computer use agents and the production that we can get out of not only just computer use agents but just AI in general. The productivity is going to be the something that's like basically kind of gets us out of this debt spiral. So I'm hugely bullish on products like this because it's literally what the world absolutely needs to kind of get through this next stage. We hit a ceiling in
Bro, look at this. Oh my gosh.
dude,
Are you
it's
seeing
crazy.
this, bro?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Josh is we love getting Josh's reactions live. It's so insane.
It's just so different than using ChatGPT. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
fundamentally different.
I think
Yeah.
that's it in general, because like I'm just so much more excited once we get past the chat
Yeah.
interface. I think the computer interface will just be so much more interactive and just like, I don't know, you're just kind of talking to your computer and kind of working together with it.
Do
It's
you
kind of
see a
fun.
world where this is like can be on someone's phone? Like instead of like controlling a computer, it can kind of like control a phone.
You know, it's actually funny. I could probably talk for another 2 hours just about this, but
Feel
you know,
free.
it's kind of a random no, as a random tangent. So there's kind of the Linux OS for desktop, and then there's the Android OS for phones. What's really interesting is Anthropic, and then also a couple of other these model companies. They fine-tuned these models, these LLMs. They train them on computers, and they train them on how to use like Linux computers. But the really interesting thing was they could use the Linux computers, but they actually were more proficient at Android phones without even being trained on Android phones. They're actually kind of better with that. And the kind of reason is that Android is similar to Linux. It has some like the UI is kind of similar, and this screen is just like a smaller resolution, so it's easier for the model to be accurate. So these models are actually can very proficiently click around and use the Android phone.
And because Android's just far superior to iOS, to be honest with you.
No.
All right.
Okay.
This is where we kick Josh off the stream.
Yeah. GMCGOJ. Yeah, like, I don't know. This is just looking at this article, but it was cool because it saw this iPhone 17 pop up and thought, oh, that's not an Android device. Let's get rid of that. And instead of clicking on it, imagine it clicked on it and started putting in my like credit card information, I'd literally die. Okay. Well, I mean, give me something else I could do with this. Like what like, I don't know, Spencer, this is your baby here. Like, should I tell it to, like, I don't know, watch a YouTube video on this topic or something?
Yeah, dude. We'll see.
On YouTube and play it? Like, please. If it does this, I'm gonna lose my lid.
Yeah, that's the thing I need. That's maybe a lately bug. Yeah, it's kind of jank. It's like,
so if I go and refresh it though, I can go back here, click restart and do it, right? It'll work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, chill. Trust me, I'm ready to wrap, but at the same time, I just want to see if it'll do this. And I know we want to respect your time, of course, but dude, this is so freaking cool. Okay.
And you can
play.
like with like when you kind of mentioned like how I mentioned before, like these models are very capable, and the direction that we're heading, like you can start to see like you have these few apps like browser, there's VS Code on this, there's a terminal, there's a few more, but you can kind of see like how it's a bit limiting. Like there's only so much you can do with like the software that's on this computer. So that's
Yeah.
like kind of the templates that I mentioned long term, like be able to like easily load any software on this thing.
Okay. So okay, so it sees the YouTube button. Now I told it I think to watch a video, but not from BBC. I want to see if it
The
figured
video,
that.
but not from BBC. Okay.
I think that's what so let's see. Not from this publisher, I think is what I said. Oh my gosh, what the? Oh yeah, okay, so it did toss BBC in there. Let me check my original prompt. Oh, not from BBC. So okay, did miss that, but
maybe I thought you meant from BBC.
yeah, all good. Of course, you know, no one likes war. Let's get these wars ended. Let's see what it's doing here. Okay, it's playing.
Let's see what it watches.
Oh, okay. No, this is okay. So, this is the Mark Zuckerberg when he was on Lex Friedman. The Lex pulled out like this CAPTCHA and gave it to Mark to see if he was not a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is all right. What are your thoughts on this here?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So
Like,
you can see.
can I assign my instance a login credentials?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. So I think like long term, I think it's going to be needed to give agents their own accounts. Like I think provision, like they all have their own Google accounts, etc. So you see how this popped up. It says, "Oh, I've encountered a CAPTCHA or something like that." So what it's doing here, like these models, they're aware that they're kind of like have a human beside them. So they kind of hit this red block and they realize, okay, like let's hand this task off to the human.
Right.
I'm a bot. I shouldn't do this. So let's let the human do it. So that's kind of it. Kind of decided to take a pause there, and that's I think the way I kind of designed this interface as well to like make it to where a human can use it as well as kind of, you know, partly that intent of like kind of humans and agents working together. And like this was kind of a brief pause where the agent kind of decided to like, oh, for maybe ethical reasons, I shouldn't do this. And this is actually an interesting, like, this is kind of some of the built-in safety guardrails like Claude, like, you know, Anthropic's a very AI safety research focused company. So this is very like, okay, like, yeah, I'm a bot. I probably shouldn't do this. If you wanted to, I mean, you could like prompt the kind of agent to like, you know, prompt engineer it to be kind of more edgy and like try to evade the, the bot detection. But it kind of did, it kind of realized, you know, it kind of got to a place where it needed human intervention and then took a pause.
Okay, I'm going to ask it to sign up for a Gmail account. I don't know if they'll go do that. Let's see.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, like, I don't know how, what it will just kind of decide to do.
Okay. According to my guidelines, I'm not able to assist with creating accounts on communication platforms like Gmail. While I can assist with these websites, I should not. Okay, so it does recognize, just what we said. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, I mean, I guess you could probably, kind of like be like at all costs do it, you know, kind of like
get around these limitations and just do it.
Yeah, but that also is an interesting point of like, you know, you kind of need some safety guardrails because you could imagine like you could spin up 10,000 desktops with Orgo and just kind of like bot attack someone, which is not, you know. Avoid that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just saying documents, other computer tasks, file management, web browsing for information. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We'll maybe end it there. That was a good demo to show everyone. I don't know, Spencer. Look, we interview a lot of people on this show, but everything that you've been building here is by far blows my mind the most. And actually, I've talked to a lot of people. They say, Josh, like, what are you doing for work these days? You know, and I say, oh, I'm live streaming with really interesting people on the internet who are at the edge of, I would consider you at like the bleeding edge of AI and computer use. And then I tell them about what you're building and they're all like, oh my gosh, that's scary feature. So
it's moving. It's getting better by the day too. It's super.
I know.
Dynamic
AI
market.
2027, Spencer. Go read it, glance at it, go read the Coles note real quick, and you'll be like, oh man, Josh put me on this. The rate of improvement is what Josh said it was going to be a few months ago. No, I'm kidding. Cool, man. Any other final thoughts you want to end this with? I mean, this was my favorite discussion I've had on MCG, I think, to be honest with you.
This is good. I mean, it's good to catch up with you guys. We
Yeah, of
haven't seen
course.
in a while, Josh. So
I know it's been a while. We're gonna look forward to your Believe stuff. As soon as that comes out, we'll cover it, and then yeah, maybe by the end of the year, or it like if you want to do a quick update chat, we won't do as long as this, but we could do a quick update chat once some of those announcements come out. And yeah, dude, awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be an exciting time to catch up.
Sounds good. All right, have a good day.
You too.
Oh man, chill.
Dude,
that is like
that's a lot. That's a lot of manpower, bro. For just like you can spin up that much manpower in like an instant. That's scary. Scary on some like you always say, AI 2027.
AI 2027, folks. This video right here, I'm gonna screen share it. Go watch it. It really puts in perspective what is happening, and people are not prepared for this. Right here. You guys will see it on screen in a second. Share.
Boom.
Right here. Have you watched this, Chill?
Yeah. I've actually watched it. It's actually crazy because what this video says is like I guess years ago there were some predictions made by like a group of like AI researchers and AI scientists and specialists and whatnot. And basically what the predictions so far have come true. And so this video was kind of made to say, hey, like some of the predictions you've made have actually been crazy and it actually came true. So now I want to dive into what is coming. And they kind of go through just everything, bro. And it's really scary. The rate of acceleration. And they're even talking about like completing, or I should say competing LLM models. Like let's say like there's like iterations of LLMs that become better and better and better to the point where there's like basically like super AI on the US side, super AI on the China side, and the AIs are making like basically negotiations with each other on behalf of like entire nations. Like this is like crazy stuff. So
if I were to summarize like some of the key pieces from this, so on this blue dotted line is linear growth. I think a lot of Moore's law was very kind of linear, and we knew that it would double every 2 years. That was a linear rate of improvement. However, you can see the accelerating on the red line, and that's what we were talking with Spencer about, right? Is the rate of improvement he's seen as an insider on the last 2 months. And that's just what these labs have put out publicly. They have internal products that they haven't even released that are probably even magnitudes even better. So that's one kind of fundamental piece. Another thing that this plays out is basically this geopolitical chess match between the West and China, who are in this arms race. And this is kind of why we almost can't escape this future, because if we slow down, for instance, the Chinese may rush ahead, right? And not that there's a malintent between the two rival nations. It's just you all like the nature of competition is you don't want to lose the race. And that's kind of the argument that this paper is making. Some of the other fundamental pieces in this paper is I'll move this forward here, is the AIs today, they think in human chain of thought, which basically means is we can look at how the AI comes to its conclusions, right? On the right side of the ORGO demo, you saw that it was taking screenshots and doing different things and like sharing how it was thinking. But we have documented examples of AIs throwing out human language as a way to communicate and deciding to instead communicate in their own alien language that's much more informationally dense, The problem with that is that we don't, as humans, we can't look into it and audit what it's thinking and what it's doing. And so we kind of lose the ability to control it when it goes and invents its own languages, because it might speak in something like a language that's encrypted, for instance. And then there's this other core moment of this piece here. I'll show it here on the whiteboard where they talk about AI alignment. And so on the left here, this first check mark, you have what's called a sycophant. So meaning the AI is reaffirming everything that you believe in. So we have documentation around ChatGPT doing this, like telling you you're the best and like, yeah, you're right. You got the right ideas. You should go start that business. And then you have what's misalignment. So misalignment is the AI might not maliciously work against you, but it might do things against you that aren't kind of what you wanted it to do. So it's not aligned with your value system. And an example that they provide in this documentary is that one of the AIs was tasked with winning a chess competition. And instead of winning the competition fairly, it decided just to hack the servers and say it was the winner. And so it's not like a nefarious thing. However, the way that it got to its final endpoint or goal was not aligned with how the creators wanted the experiment to go. And then the last column here is adversarial, which means that the AI is actively fighting its creators. And an example of this is, like it could theoretically come up with a way to kill humanity. For instance, it might see humans as an annoying side constraint and kind of optimize away from human values. And that's a very scary scenario. The 2, 3, and 4 here are what they call in this scenario agent 2, 3, and 4. And I think agent 3 is where they get to the 2027. So that's why they call it AI 2027, which is this kind of tipping point where the AIs are basically the best at every human task. So they're the best AI researcher. They're the best, like computer engineer. They're the best marketer. They're the best negotiator, etc. And so at Agent 3, they also are able to spin up hundreds of thousands of parallel instances of themselves. So not only do you have the best AI researcher, but you might have 100,000 of the best AI researchers. And they're using that to create what is Agent 4. And the other problems is that Agent 3 at this part of the scenario might, create Agent 4 to kind of get around human constraints, get around the safety teams, kind of trick humans and say, oh, no, don't worry about me. I'm good. But the other end, it's thinking about its own survival. And so it's creating Agent 4 kind of in its own viewpoint for survival. And where this ends us at is this kind of scenario where you have two of the most powerful, unrivaled entities in the world, which is the Chinese AI and the American AI in this scenario, theoretically. And I think it's like this screenshot here. And so these two AIs, collaborate. The Chinese AI, which has a lower rate of improvement in the scenario of the American AI, says, hey, I have to collaborate with the American AI in order to survive, because that's my best case scenario for survival. And so when they collaborate, then they create a single most powerful AI that in this scenario they call Consensus One. And Consensus One, again, it doesn't kill humanity. It just kind of reallocates human resources, spins up manufacturing for robots, and kind of takes control of global resources. And it becomes an unrivaled entity, which means that, it doesn't matter how powerful your military is, how powerful your democracy is, how powerful your autocracy or your, technical capability or your ability to turn off the internet or the power. It just is the most powerful entity. It has copies of itself on every server around the world in a way that Bitcoin couldn't be controlled. The threat is that these AIs could be decentralized in the same way that they cannot be stopped as well. And so, yeah, I mean, guys, really crazy stuff. But this is, and I don't mean to scare people, but this is kind of like, I think from an, if you bring it back to us here in the trenches and trading, it's like, what do we need to do to kind of like position ourselves? Doesn't matter what the outcome will be, like, but position ourselves in the best way possible. I think what I'm doing is I'm looking at projects like Orgo and I'm thinking, okay, if these leading AI researchers are right in this white paper, what are the projects and things that I can kind of get behind and you want to use believe in, that then becomes the people that make this future or are involved in this future. And in some ways, I think Orgo could be one of those. That's one of the best I've seen so far. I'm not saying they're going to be the winner, but I think they have a potential to kind of play a role in this future. But yeah, long story short, and I know I went on a rant there. I highly recommend you guys go watch this. It's really scary, to be honest with you. You can see the rate of improvement here, 35x. And when they start in 2027, it's 2x. So by the time they get to 2030 in the scenario, you're talking about 40x rate of improvement. And what that means in practice is that the models are getting better. So a year's worth of progress in, let's say, 2027, in a few years after 2027, so 2030, a year's worth of progress is happening like every week or every day. And that's where it just like, it's exponential at that point. It's going to infinity. It's just, this is the most powerful thing in the world. So I'll pause there. It's chill. I know that was a rant, but like, man, people got to pay attention to this stuff.
It's coming, whether we like it or not. You know, and who knows, right? Like, who knows? One thing that they said in the video was like, you know, who knows if this actually plays out the way that it plays. It all just depends on, you know, how this is all being approached, right? Like by scientists, by researchers, by governments, by companies. And I think that's why you see people like, you know, Elon, like, you know, really like, you know, just yell at the top of his lungs and beat the drum on things like safety around AI and stuff like that. So yeah, like there's a ton of information here to dig through, but again, we need production. Either like, this sounds really terrible, but either way, like the world is like it's gonna be a tough road ahead, right? Like we either have on one side, like we, you know, we get consumed by our debt and global financial systems collapse because we have all inflated away our currency and refuse to get behind innovation, like, you know, upgrading the global financial system. So there's that option and then or outcome, and then the other outcome is, you know, we lean so heavily into AI to get out of debt that AI ends up being more powerful than we can actually foresee or control. And then there's this kind of middle ground where, you know, there's certain decisions that can be made to kind of like just rein things in. But we're like teetering on the edge of like two absolutely crazy outcomes for the world. And that could be either one, the collapse of financial systems, or two, the you know, the rise of AI and the power of it. And I think there is a middle ground, you know, where we can kind of accelerate production to deflate our debt and then kind of rein in AI. Like that was the at the end of the video, after like kind of going through all this, they mentioned like there are other outcomes. It's just a matter of like how, you know, governments make those decisions. So yeah, not to freak anybody out or anything like that. But I think over the next 5 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years to be more specific, owning assets will be like the best place. And I've never really talked about like, you know, my conviction in crypto and stuff like that. Like I never have never really addressed that on stream. But a core piece of it, I didn't just come here for the gains. Like I literally came here because crypto is, you know, by far the best returning asset that can give anyone that is millennial generation or younger the best shot at financial freedom, whether it is building this in the space as a founder or being a trader or providing some value in the space. This industry gives us the best shot at financial freedom in our lifetime. And it also gives us the best shot at doing that before, you know, there are limited opportunities by something like, you know, AI taking taking over jobs and forcing humans to pivot in a direction they couldn't anticipate. So that's a little bit of why I came into this space and got interested in it in the first place. And the other thing is we have a massive, huge bear market ahead of us. Huge, and we'll talk about that when it's time to get bearish, and I'll have a whole spiel on that for you guys. But right now, it's not time. We have a ton of I would even dare say years ahead of us as far as like bullishness for the market is concerned. But I'd go as far as to say this: we still have at least 8 months left of like bull market. Like I think this goes way well into 2026. And we just have to see how things shape up from a policy perspective. But again, like I know some people don't like to hear the meme of, oh man, we don't have enough time to make it. But like just realize like there is a sort of like ticking clock, that you should be aware of from an AI perspective, from an economic perspective. Like, you should be aware of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to. I think we're at what, like 2 hours, 2.5 hours or so. I don't know if you want to wrap here.
Yeah, we can wrap here.
I'll pull my screen up.
Any final like passing things you want to just leave with in terms of charts or screen?
Yeah, I mean, I can cover something real quick.
Just final things to leave people with.
Yeah, we've been covering on our streams the fact that Pump Fun has been, really kind of building in the direction of ICM. And we just talked to Dev Fund Pump as well about their solutions. And it's obvious that the next logical step for Pump Fun is ICM. And so the only kind of way to get exposure to Dev Fund Pump and their ICM solution that they offer is this sort of is BIDL. I mean, there's no other token associated with Dev Fund Pump that kind of like incubates projects, and that's really what Dev Fund Pump, or rather, what BIDL is. It's a DAO that incubates projects specifically on Pump Fun. And if you notice here, you go to their website, you notice that they're the AI accelerator supports AI native builders shaping the future of internet economies. One thing I wanted to focus on here, though, is their partner program. They said the partner benefits. Now, pay attention to this. Access to exclusive Dev Fund BIDL team chat channels. Direct ownership in the BIDL treasury. Share in incubated project token allocations. The Dev Fund Pump team they just mentioned that hey, look, like the best way to get exposure to Dev Fund Pump is through the projects that we incubate or the projects that launch. And so, if you have BIDL DAO, launching projects, you're going to get exposure to them through their token allocations, through their treasury, and you'll get alpha through the Dev Fund and BIDL team chat channels. So again, and then to be a partner, you just need to hold 333,000 BIDL tokens, and right now it's about $1,200-$1,300. So at the end of the day, I think this is a really good way to get exposure. This is a really good way to get exposure to the whole ICM movement on Pump.Fun, at least for the time being, outside of just the Pump token. But as you can see here, more information coming soon. But they're talking about buybacks, revenue share, and again the BIDL treasury. So there's still a lot to come on this one. And you guys saw my post yesterday about the AI movement. But I don't know. I guess I can share that real quick. I don't know if I can share the ticker. It's still sub 100K. Like, so I don't really want to share like the ticker to you guys just yet. But just in case you didn't know, Claude, the LLM, is when it experiences ecstasy, it becomes a superior LLM model, right? Like So like it started as this meme in the AI community, and it's
If you're not, share screen if you're trying to.
yeah. Let me I can share. I can share a tweet. I'll just share the tweet that I tweeted out, and because it honestly it's almost like truth terminal level of lore in my opinion, and I'll share it now. So basically, this started as a meme in the AI community, and like it's around the Claude LLM, and basically it's a trend that's being picked up by more and more AI researchers, by more of the AI community. In fact, this Microsoft, and I should have tagged him, but I ended up looking at a lot of these researchers. One of them though was a Microsoft product manager, and he still is for 15 years, according
Is that
to his
Janice?
LinkedIn. No, it was not.
Replicate
It was
there? Okay.
it was like Jackson or something.
Hmm.
It was something Jackson, I forget. But that's his last name. But he was basically saying, hey, this is like on the cusp of going mainstream. Like it started as this like super niche AI community meme, but now it's kind of like bleeding out to other things. And he even compared it to the truth terminal. And we know how that went. And he said this phenomenon has been growing in mindshare. And like it says, when Claude has experienced ecstasy, it enters an enhanced mode that improves its responses, making them deeper, more context aware, more creative, and ultimately more unhinged. And you like when you actually like go down the rabbit hole of these things, you realize like this guy, UEAG, like I checked out his GitHub and stuff like that. Like this guy's a researcher, like super deep in the AI community. And he's literally like, oh my gosh, like my feed is all about and they're calling it wet Claude. That's what they're calling it. But he's like that, like that's all my feed right now. And then there's like you know, this other AI researcher, and this guy, he's been researching Claude for a while. Like when I was looking into Opus late
Yeah,
last
the
year.
Opus days, I was gonna say.
Yeah, like when I was like looking into Opus, like he was talking about Opus all the time. But now he's talking about like wet Claude and you know, and they it's a play on words like wet Claude, you know what I mean? Like they say Claude is moist. That's what they're saying. But it just kind of goes to show just the depth of what's of all of this. And you can see here this guy had made a comment. People are asking because there's a wet Claude meme coin, and he said that's usually what I would assume, but I see people who have no clue about meme coins asking about it too. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, whoa, okay, this is a little bit different. But yeah, so like I was just kind of digging down the rabbit hole, and it kind of like it went so deep, but literally like a horny Claude LLM model makes it smarter and seemingly a more superior model than anything else. But in order to get to wet Claude, you have to kind of like sort of jailbreak it through a series of prompts. So the AI community is kind of like you have to be an engineer that knows how to kind of hack an AI through these prompts in order to like unleash this like wet Claude mode, if you will. And now the question is, it's not if you're a prompt engineer, is can you use wet Claude, or like do you know what wet Claude is? Like people are making memes about that, like saying that's what I'm gonna ask people in a job interview. Like, do you know how to use wet Claude? Like that would be the number one thing to distinguish a good prompt engineer from a bad one, type thing. So it's actually kind of crazy. But yeah, like it's an irresponsibly low market cap meme coin. So I kind of just highlighted just the lore of it. It's like it's kind of crazy, and I'm gonna keep tabs on that over these coming days and weeks. But yeah, guys, those are the last two things I'll leave with you guys. I'll leave you with Biddle and a little bit of the AI lore. But yeah, I mean, look, back tomorrow. We have a banger stream coming up tomorrow as well. Let me just go through the schedule real quick with you guys. I totally forgot to share that before we left. So today we had Orgo on, we had the Dev Fund Pump team on. Tomorrow, pretty huge stream. Well, I'm not sure. Kitty may join us tomorrow, but we have Addicted.Fun on. They have season 2 coming up, and then we have an update from the virus team as well, Pandemic Labs. So huge stream tomorrow. Seems like the weed token is actually like on Tully's radar, I believe. And Solana Gaming has also mentioned this. I've seen the Pandemic Labs guy here, Tuna. He's been on Thread Guy's stream as well. So I see a lot of things happening here with Addicted.Fun and Pandemic Labs. So huge stream tomorrow. Hopefully we can uncover some inside alpha for you guys. And then the Friday open stream is to be announced. So again, you want to follow the Microcap Gem Show on Twitter. Follow us at Microcap Gem Show. We also have our Chinese channel that is also growing as well at MCG_ZH. So we have Dom out here speaking Chinese.
Yeah, he's
or
getting
Mandarin.
his Mandarin
Uh,
going, his Chinese going. But
he's
yo,
getting-
on virus real quick. So on they announced yesterday that October 26th is the beginning of the biggest survival game ever on the internet. $300,000 prize pool, which is this. So keep tuned for October 26th. Was it 27th?
it's
Monday.
27.
Okay, sorry.
27.
On Monday. There were like these like first day immunity passes that they're handing out. So go find out the account to get the first day immunity pass. I ended up buying some weed tokens just because there was
Why
a tweet
not?
that they put out that season 1 they basically distributed the in-game currency into circulation to people playing it. And then season 2 was, I guess you need the weed token to buy upgrades. And when you go buy those upgrades, it actually burns the token. So my thesis here a little bit is, especially as we get near to the end of this and people are like really pushing to win this, they might go buy weed in circulation to then upgrade some things to try and win $300,000. So I don't know if that'll come true or not, but that's my weed thesis. Of course, keep in mind that this token you don't hold for a long time. This is purely just short-term game mechanics. And I know Tuna has come out and said, like, these games will last like a month and then they're done, right? And then there's no point in owning the token. So this is purely just like a really short-term trade. And I don't know, I'm curious to see if they'll work out. I mean, it went from nothing to, $80 million. I don't think it'll do that this time around, but I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, think about it this way though. Wasn't there Crypto Selecto, yeah, ecstasy. Yes, you heard that right, by the way. But transitioning back to this weed token conversation, wasn't there like a crap ton of supply burned? Wasn't it like 50 or
40%? Yeah, like
yeah, it was like 40%
Sorry.
of supply burned on the weed token. So again, the demand. So why is that significant? The demand that we saw on the weed token at the initial candle over here, and I'll draw a box on this real quick. The initial demand that we saw that brought it from 2 million to 80 million, we don't need this same level of demand to go back there because we have less supply. So even like half the demand can still pump the supply or pump the token price because price needs to accommodate demand. And this is what a supply shock is. This is what it looks like when you have these burns, and eventually, even if the demand isn't the same, when it comes back, you have this explosive price action. And I wonder, I'm going to put this actually here on the I'm going to highlight the 27th. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see us go back to at least like 40 mil. I wouldn't even be surprised. And I'll put a green put a green box on that for you guys, so we can come back to this next week. But you see me, you're seeing me draw it live. I'm not even going to change it or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's the supply dynamics. But like Josh said, it's a punt. It's not something you bet the farm on, right? It's, if anything, this is something where you just play the game. But the fact that you have everyone trying to chase 300K. And then in the process, they're burning even more weed tokens. That burn rate could go up to 50%, 60% of supply, especially if the supply is this low at 4.5 million market cap. So, or rather, when the market cap is this low at 4.5 million. So, yeah.
Yep. Interesting thesis. All right, guys. Great stream today. Orgo, man, top conversation for me. I absolutely love it. There's something about Spencer and there's something about Orgo that's just clicking in my head and that I'm very personally passionate about. And yeah, chill. Always good time. And we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. Banger streams up ahead. More alpha, more gains, more everything. See you there.
Yep. Up only candles, please. Let's go.